Blair with the Badass Records podcast, welcoming you back in for another episode. This week's guest is none other than the talented Dane Bridges. It's a welcome back to Dane from episode number 79, nearly 3 years ago. You can check all of the things that Dane has going on his Instagram page. He is at GD_Bridges. In his bio, you will find details for acts he plays in, such as Major Matt Mason, Grindstone, Holiday at Sea, From Me, and Straylight may not be in there, but his stuff in that project is on the streaming platforms. Episodes of Badass Records Podcast air Thursdays. You can consume it on the website, badassrecordspodcast.com. You can view it on YouTube. You can stream it on the platform of your choice. And the Instagram handle for the podcast is at Badass Records Podcast. That's all I got for you this week. Appreciate you stopping by. Hope you enjoy the show. So I think this is going to wind up being episode 209 of Badass Records Podcast. Welcome back, Dane Bridges. So good to see you. 130 episodes later in almost 3 years.
That's awesome.
Great to see you. I appreciate you sharing some time with me. We have got at GD_Bridges on Instagram. In that Instagram bio, you've got links for Major Matt, Grindstone, Holiday at Sea, and From Me. So welcome back. In episode 79, we talked bands of yours. We talked Failure, Queens of the Stone Age, Interpol, Russian Circles, and J Jail. Is that right?
Sounds right.
And I can't say for sure that you were the first person to have that Failure record, but folks have had it since.
I saw it return a couple times.
Yeah.
Was it Josh King
Okay.
came in?
Yeah.
I think he had that one, and he had a record that I almost brought in, that You'd Prefer an Astronaut by Hum.
Which I think has made more than one list
Dude.
as well.
Yeah, that seems huge.
And you know, as the brain does, I have zero familiarity with this thing, and then somebody introduces it to you, and then another person brings it up, and I go, "Oh, the Dane Bridges, the Failure record that Dane Bridges made famous." So man, I literally did a triple take preparing my notes, and I can't see really the scribblings, the small things too well without my glasses. So, I mean, I squinted, double took, and then took my glasses out and went, almost 3 years ago? That's wild.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it at all.
Crazy.
But you mentioned having kept up with the show.
Mm-hmm.
What has compelled you to do so? Because, a number of folks, whether they've been on, done an episode, or they know that I do it, and they occasionally will ask, they're always like, wow, like it's still, that's crazy. And the audience or the numbers growth is a very, very slow uptick.
Sure.
And sometimes people are like, you got to do these things in the department of marketing. You got to do this, you got to do that. And I always appreciate it, but at the end of the day, in my dumb small brain, I don't know that there's a market for long form, one-on-one, mostly Kansas City. Like, who is this interesting for? But here you are saying that you have kept up with it.
I think it was, my discovery of the show was through Jason when he was on, and I think after I was on, I watched Jason's episode, and I think when I was on, I had even more understanding of how it all went down. And how the show works. Essentially, I was like, oh, I think what had me hooked was like, well, I know I chose those records. Like, I'm interested to see what other people choose and stuff. And something I really liked about the way you handle it is you make sure to check out the material. And I know that sounds like duh, but like, but it's like, I don't know. I can't pull an example right away of a podcast that doesn't do that, but I know that
It could be done.
totally. And I know I've seen podcasts before it's where it's really easy for it's not a jab at anyone in particular, but like a host could easily turn into kind of a very easy like yes person who like where regardless of if they have knowledge or has anything to add to what's being talked about or what the topic is, it can be really easy for them to just float along and be like, yes, yes, of course, yeah, totally agree, yeah, and have some really like almost like dead end kind of responses to everything going on, and it results in kind of a bland experience, right? And it almost starts to feel one way, right? And your way of doing things, the questions you ask, you checking out the material, and you being invested in the scene and being interested in these artists, that like passion shines through really quick.
Oh,
like you can tell that
cool.
it's not just like obviously you wouldn't really have a motive to do this like without a desire for it, because like I don't know, like you said, is there a market for it? How much do you get out of it on a regular basis? You might as well do this if it's something you care about.
Yeah.
And it's something you want to hear about and talk about. So
For sure.
yeah, I think what kept me along essentially was just like clearly you cared.
Well, cool. Good to hear.
And the
I do.
people who were on the show were cool. There were some people, like new people. I'm scrolling through and I'm like, never heard of this person, but they, either their name looks cool or the records they chose I agree with
Yeah.
or something like that. And then sometimes I'll scroll through. I'm like, I know that person. And
Nice.
I'm like, and it'll be cool to hear.
Well, I know what you mean on the podcast front. There's a lot of lanes, and there are people that do a good job. They're good conversationalists. They're genuine and pleasant to their guests. You can tell that. Sometimes you can tell if somebody did the research for them. Sometimes you could tell that they probably have, I don't know, for lack of a better word, writers that are coming up with the questions
Sure,
for them to
totally.
ask,
Yeah.
and it works. It works fine. It's a little bit of a different animal if it's just you. I don't have an intern to do the edits for me or the blah blah blah. But it's important to be invested. Otherwise, as you said, the end product could be a little bland.
Yeah.
And I will say that when it comes to checking out records that folks share, if I know them well, there's no need. I don't
Sure. Yeah,
need
yeah,
to
yeah.
listen to, this is no shade thrown at this artist, but I don't need to listen to the Doors' greatest hits.
Sure.
Because I know I could win a spelling bee by reciting the lyric,
Yeah.
And sometimes things are so foreign that I'm like, at first glance, I'm like, which is the artist, which is the record? And sometimes I know the artist and I know that their brand is not my wheelhouse, so it's going to be tough.
Totally.
It's going to be tough. I mean, that getting ready for yours, one in particular was like, oh man, this is something. Everything else was lovely, though. I mean, a few of these were first listens. A couple
Cool.
I knew well. But anyway, I appreciate it. You coming back, you saying that you've kept up with the show, and you're still doing the School of Rock deal in Lee Summit. Give me a refresher, if you would, please, on what is offered by School of Rock.
Yeah. So it's pitched as performance-based education.
Okay.
So that the like general like your usual experience is gonna vary depending on like whatever package you sign up for. But like the flagship thing is that people take lessons on an instrument that's guitar, bass, drums, keys, or vocals. And they take lessons on that instrument.
No
They
horns.
no horns, unfortunately. You know, we had an instructor once upon a time who could teach saxophone, and that was a brief little stint where we had like one or two students doing that, and
Okay.
that was a very off the board kind of try at something. But yeah, who knows? We'll see. But it. Those students who are learning their instruments get into a band with other students. They generally, like each season, which is about a trimester, like 4 months, they get handed like a theme of an artist or maybe songs or genres or something like that. So we have like 3 or 4 groups right now. One of the groups is a Led Zeppelin based group.
Okay.
One group is an 80s based group. One is the Grohl Show, all bands with Dave Grohl.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see, what's the fourth one?
How do you get? Who's choosing who you get grouped with for your band?
So that is our show directors. There's a few of them, but there's like one big music director that's like in charge of all of them. Where when you sign up, you could technically choose what show you want to or what group you want to go into if it's not full, or if there's like 10 drummers in a group already, there's no way you're but it's kind of a first come first serve kind of thing. Towards the beginning of a season, you can apply to be in a certain group, and they will. But in the end, the show director makes the choice on what the best fit will be. So you don't automatically get the one you always wanted necessarily, because if that one is full, or maybe the director knows you very well as a student and they're like, you will learn a lot more if I put you in Zeppelin versus whatever it may be. But anyways, they get into these groups, they practice for about 2 months. And then they play a show at a local venue.
Okay.
And that's called our mid-season show. They give like a snapshot of what they've been working on. Usually it's a short set. Each band plays like 4 to 6 songs.
Okay.
And then 2 more months. And then there's an end-of-season show where every group plays roughly like anywhere between like 12 to 18 songs.
Wow.
Like a set.
Yeah.
Is like, it's a long day. That results in us being at the venue from like 10 a.m. to like 6 p.m.
Okay.
It's like, it's a long one. But
So you're one of the instructors teaching lessons?
yeah, I teach lessons about 90% of the time. About the other 10% I'm show directing. So I also run a couple rehearsals on certain days.
Okay.
And this season I don't run any of the themed rehearsals, but I do run our adult program. So we have adult bands ages 18 and up. And right now the theme that we're doing loosely, the adult themes are never like set in stone, but right now we're doing like garage rock kind of stuff. So,
yeah.
Anything that either inspired like the garage rock kind of sound or kind of came from that movement. Really, to me, it's just any music that's like imperfect or sounds like it was recorded in a rough situation, or is really punky and grungy or whatever it may be, so
more often than not, the folks that get grouped together to be bands X, Y, and Z, everybody gets along.
Most of the time.
I mean, the driving force has got to be we're all pretty invested in learning and et cetera.
What helps is that I think everybody who's there goes there for a reason, and it's usually to escape the real school.
Sure.
And so they're often there for the same reasons: to pursue an instrument, pursue something that's not homework and not something else. And they often hit it off. Every now and then you have your expected like drama between teenagers within the school.
Yeah.
We have safety protocols in place for all that, like any school would have.
Cool.
And stuff like that. So
there are how many in the Metro School of Rocks?
that's tough.
It's more than one, right?
Yeah, I want to say 4 or 5. What I know of is Lee Summit, Parkville, Blue Valley, which is Overland Park-ish area. That's what comes to mind. There was an Overland Park school that was like smack dab in the middle of Overland Park. That school closed down, and someone who was a student at our school, an adult student named Jeremy Wilkinson, started his own, got a franchise and started his own school in Blue Valley. So,
Okay.
and that school's growing
Nice.
fast, and it's a hot spot. There's a lot of people in that area, and so I think our school is at like 175 kids or something like that, or students in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their school, I think, is at like 120 right now, and they've done that in about a quarter of the time that
Dang.
we're able to do that for
My
us. So.
my daughter is a freshman this year, so she's no longer in the K through 8 school that she logged so many years at. One of the most looked forward to events every year is the father daughter dance, which a number of years ago they changed to the snowflake dance because it's in January and they didn't want to, like, if you don't have a father, if you're bringing your uncle or
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so, somewhere along the way, enough moms went, "Where's ours?" So they started having a SON sunshine dance,
Oh, cool.
which is just bananas because the boys are like nothing to do with their mom. They're off clowning around, being boys.
Yeah.
But the first one they had, I signed up to. They needed volunteers, so I signed up to work the gate where you check in. And so I'm just sitting there checking people in, blah blah blah, and all of a sudden, in come just what felt like a ton of young musicians packing in gear, and I was like, "What is it?" Like? And they're like, "Oh, School of Rock's doing." I was like, "Oh shit,
Whoa,
yeah!"
cool.
And so I was like, "I wonder, like, surely there was probably some folks in that you knew or
Very
know."
possible. Yeah.
What was weird to me, I mean, most young people are weird to me, but they look, for like, what generation are you? Do you know? Are you a millennial or are you I don't even know all.
X question mark?
Are you X?
X maybe. I don't know anything
Okay.
about that stuff.
Well, a lot of young people just out there in the wild look. I mean, naturally from generation to generation, this has happened. They look different. They dress different.
Yeah.
But
Whatever's.
they all seem super unstable in the social, you know, interactions. Just, hey, how you doing? Like.
Yeah.
But they,
Oh my gosh.
as a team or whatever, a conglomerate, they came in, they hauled all their own shit,
Yep.
they set up, it was a short set. They did like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 songs, something like that, all kind of in the contemporary, what's new and what's popular, because these are at the time fourth graders,
Cool.
fifth, anyway. And then they broke down and hauled out all of their, and I was like, well, I mean, I guess if they look awkward socially, but they're handling business,
The
what does
average
it
musician.
True. But it was impressive because and eventually I see a couple of adults. I mean, not that these kids weren't, but older folks that seem to be in charge, but also letting them
Yeah.
kind of do the thing.
Yeah. That's a huge part of what we do for sure, and I love that that's how you observed them, because that sounds like exactly how it's supposed to go. Really, we try our primary goal, and for a long time this was a hard thing to do, especially when our numbers and our student count weren't as high, but you want to create the most self-sustainable and confident bands of people just possible, so these people can go do this on their own, and do the things I do, and all the people who've been on the podcast and stuff. And that starts with knowing how to handle your stage and knowing what gear you like, how to set it up, how to run it. You won't get super far if instructors are always putting everything up and taking everything down, especially if instructors are always filling in spots in the band. Something that our school just, well, if I say recently, probably within the last year or two, what our school started doing is we have like a policy that's rarely broken now, where if there is a vacant spot or a a crucial, unless it's something ridiculous like drums or something. If there's a vacant spot in a band, let's say a student didn't show up, or maybe a student has become unreliable and has started like not showing up to band, we let the kids in the band sort it out. Like, and if there is a part missing, they're gonna have to learn how to deal with that arrangement and learn how to compromise and how to play music a different way,
That's cool.
how to think around that kind of issue, because you have real shows where I have not been in a band that has had such a critical issue, but you're in bands sometimes where people are like, "Hey guys, can't make it tonight," and you're like, "Oh shit." It's like, but if you're booked for a show, especially if you're booked for a show you're getting paid for, you're gonna play that show.
Yeah.
And so it's a situation where it's kind of a tough luck thing, and very rarely do we ever need to do that. But it has pretty much always worked. Back when they first told us to do that, I was scared because I care about the kids, and I don't want them to play a bad show. But, but they're going to.
Yeah.
There's going to be bad shows. Everybody has one, and so I eventually just lost. I became desensitized to that, and I'm like, if I hear a shitty song, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's power through it. And like it happens. And I think the kids are more comfortable with that now too. I think ever since we've pushed that pretty hard, and they know that we're not always going to be there. They're super confident now. They can set up their own stuff now, and
it's great.
They sometimes go out of their way to understudy on other instruments. So they're like, "Hey, my bassist disappears. I know the part. It's okay."
That's cool.
I'm just like, that's awesome. That's exactly what you should be doing.
It makes me think of I play hockey on Wednesday nights and have, for whatever reason, been the captain of this squad for more years than I can remember. For many, many years, sorting out numbers, ideal skate is 10, and you have two different lines of forwards, two different threesomes, and then two different defensive pairings.
Okay.
And beneath 10, you figured out. You start going up, then everybody's ice time is going down, and it's harder to gel when you're out on the ice. But it's much more diplomatic now that I don't really have. I'll participate if we need to find a sub, but a lot of it works itself out. And everybody rolls with it, and it's fine. The curveball is when the goalie's like, "I can't make it tonight," and you're like, "Oh shit, that's a whole nobody owns the things." First of all, to go play that position, and nobody has the skill set or the courage really to go stand there. But it's always like, okay, emergency, let's put in all of our anyway, it mostly works itself out to be fine.
Yeah.
But you have been doing the School of Rock thing for 6 years now?
Yeah, since 20 June of 2020.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
So, that says something to me, again, as the old guy, stay off my lawn. It feels like younger generations would be perhaps quicker to say, this isn't for me anymore. I'm just going to quit coming. I'll find something else. Generations older than me did the opposite and stayed miserable at a place for 40 years. I see, obviously, having a paying job in the world of music is cool in and of itself, but your longevity there to date suggests that it's fulfilling, that it gives you something beyond a paycheck, and you enjoy coming to work every day. Is that?
Yeah, totally. It's one of those factors is, like I do something where I'm able to touch instruments and make money, and that's crazy already. But it's the there's as much as there are times where I get to a point where maybe it's just a bad week, or maybe, sometimes the job does turn into a grind. I have like, enough tasks going on, or enough students in a week, it can be like, oh my gosh. But it's like thinking about the big picture of it, and there's a longevity, not just to like what I've done there and how long I've been there, also how long our staff has stayed pretty tight. We haven't lost a lot of people. Is It's also like the thinking about what I'm building, with the students, and even if it's not, you can never guarantee that you're building music careers or anything. Like I've gotten this kid's gotten pretty good at guitar. It doesn't necessarily mean he's gonna be a hit after
He's
this.
selling out
And
the U.S. next
yeah,
summer.
it's like, but I've given this person and many other people a place to breathe and to put their efforts, and facilitating that is just huge, because I just know what that feels like, and how much one needs that,
Yeah.
and so it's a de-stressor for me in response to their de-stressing. I'm like, I'm cool because you guys are cool. It's like I feel fine about all this. It's a similar thing, like when they're worried about a show, yeah, I'm worried too. It's like it's okay if everyone's nervous. Everybody gets nervous for shows, but it's such a weird, like, you know, everybody's in the same brain sometimes, and it's like, I think it's because we all do the same thing. We all know what it feels like to
Yeah.
not know if you have this part down, or
I've said this a million times on here before, but I even today, not so much, but not zero. I'm anxious/nervous before every interview. And for the longest time, I was like, what is, get it together. What's the problem? And it's because I don't want it to be shitty. I want it to be,
Yeah,
I don't want to play a bad show, So if they're nervous, good for them, because it means they're invested, I think.
yeah, another sign that shows you care.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
if you had zero thoughts like that, I'd be concerned. So
There are some more things in your IG bio. I want to move through them all, but barista?
yeah.
I mean, is that
Yep.
new? Is that
So in I wasn't hiding this. It's just like and probably the newest development, and newest as in like, I think either right before or right after our last episode, I started working at Dutch Bros
Okay.
Coffee, that the one also in Lee Summit.
Okay.
That's on Shipman, and it was a way to fill my mornings and give me a little more discipline. I stopped going to school, stopped going to MCC. I think I was going there at the time of the last episode, or maybe shortly before that. Pretty much for no reason, to be honest. I just,
wasn't feeling it anymore?
I guess so. I think I got scared because I was worried that money was going into something that was going to lead me into a complete dead end, because I didn't necessarily have an exit. I didn't have a plan, like,
Yeah.
for, so it's still there, and I'm like, 60-70% through like a simple associate's degree, and
Okay.
I can go back anytime,
Sure.
and finish it, and maybe I will. I hope to, but it's, I got to this point where like, I'm like, man, it's like making me super unhappy. Just like I kind of made it a huge part of my routine and my schedule and stuff, and it was eating into my job and stuff like that, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna take an indefinite break from that, and then it opened me up to start sleeping in pretty absurdly, to the point to where my days were just work,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I was like getting up for work at like 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. and then getting done and then going to bed. And there was that whole weird like sleep debt, sleep overdrive issue where if you sleep too much, it just makes you more tired.
Uh-huh.
There's
Yeah.
that thing that was happening there. And so yeah, I was just like turning into like just a like
Yeah.
all the time.
How many
And,
hours were you taking per semester on average?
Not a lot really, but I was taking like all of the classes that I would group up were like hefty courses, and thankfully I was doing online stuff, so it was easy to just like stay home and do it. But I would do like 3 or 4 courses at a time.
Okay.
Maybe like I think
I
the
mean, that's
most I did.
basically full time,
Yeah, I think my first semester I did 5, and then I started whittling down
Yeah.
from there because I wanted to get a taste of it. I'm like, okay, that was a little too much. I'm gonna keep docking it until I'm like, okay, that's a sweet spot, and yeah, and I'm pretty close there. And if I went back, I don't think it would stress me out as much. I just need to get into that headspace. But
Sometimes you gotta take a step back and
yeah,
like, well, okay, what is the thing that we're doing?
yeah,
And then
exactly.
look at it and go, okay,
Yeah,
this is still for me, or it's not anymore.
totally. Yeah, and there are things I miss about it. There's a certain thing, I don't know what it is. I didn't have this feeling in high school, that's for sure. But there's something about doing assignments and turning stuff in and having deadlines that fulfills me weirdly, and it stresses me the hell out when I'm in it. But then when I stop doing it, I'm like, well, where is it? I'm
Yeah,
like, where was the thing that I was
yeah.
supposed to do? And it's
That
so
is
weird.
a very different thing as an adult versus a teen or whatever in high school. It
Hmm.
also, I learned very late in the game. I'm in undergrad and I'm freshman year. It was like, I don't know if I'm in the right place. I don't know if I've declared the right major. But everything after freshman year, I was like, why am I enjoying school so much? And it's like,
Right?
oh, because I'm choosing the things that I'm
Yeah.
studying. And then
Hmm.
I get to grad school and the whole thing is, this is what I want to do. So it's all directed at that. And it starts getting less and less generalized.
Yes.
And then as grad school was nearing an end, I was like feeling a kind of way about it not being a part of my life anymore.
Hmm.
And I've really, really liked it, which, I mean, freshman, sophomore year of high school, I was like on a roll and blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. This is too much.
Yeah.
And I just kind of skated through the rest of high school after that.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden have this wild transformation where it's like, I don't understand. I'm still basically the same person, but where was this? And it's like your responsibilities as an adult look very different than they did when
Yeah.
you were younger, and you're choosing your course of study and so on and so forth. There's a lot to be said for
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Once it starts funneling down into something where you start to have more agency, I think it becomes, yeah, it's like more fulfilling. It feels like you're actually getting somewhere, and you've got all the filler out of the way,
Yeah.
And so yeah, the coffee shop thing, it was like they were building one in Lee Summit, and the applications were already out. The building wasn't even finished, and so I was like, well, this is pretty low pressure. How about I just apply to a job that doesn't exist yet, and they, they'll reach out to me in a few months and it'll be like smooth. It'll be
Yeah.
easy. And yeah, it was exactly that. Like it's like it's your essentially your fast food job, and it's like it's a little above minimum wage. There's nothing special about it, but I was like, I want something to do, and I love coffee, and maybe I'll get it for free when I'm there,
There you go.
And so, and I've always had a slight curiosity in making coffee like baristas, and I watch the things they do. It looks very interesting, and I was like, maybe I'll give that a try. And although it's not the most like eclectic or like mom and pop kind of thing. It's a chain, but I was like, let's do it. It sounds cool. And I hear awful things about working at Starbucks, and I hear
Really?
medium to okay things about working at Dutch Bros. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know why, but every Starbucks worker I've encountered is miserable.
Huh.
And
They
they're
always seem pleasant in the
oh, I'm
joint.
sure. And yeah, it seems like they have a good time, but yeah, I meet those people and they're like, please don't do it. I'm like, all right, all right. But yeah, so they reached out to me, and I was like in the first wave of interviews, and it was pretty done deal. I think I kind of picked up on them. I don't know if they knew this, but like them accidentally telling me I had the job of the interview, because they, instead of saying, we'll call you, or
Yeah.
or saying like, well, if we blah blah blah, they said, well, when, you know,
Mm.
whenever we have you in the shop next, we'll start getting to work on that. I'm like, well, that's a confirmation right there already. So kind of prepared for that. But I was pretty surprised by it. I was like nervous, because I was like, these are the kinds of places where you have to memorize like hundreds of recipes
Yeah.
and combinations and stuff. And there was a pretty like a very, very well built like training system
Oh,
that led
cool.
up to it. There was like, they had online, essentially courses that you would have to take and stuff to walk through like all of the mainstays on the menu, the things they always serve, and then whatever seasonal drinks were going to drop on release whenever the place opened and stuff. And you have to take this like final exam. It's pretty low pressure. It's not really that crazy, but take a big long like 100 question thing that like has like scenarios, like you've seen this pop up on your ticket, give us a step by step on how to make it, stuff
Nice.
like that. So got through that, and since I've been there since like pretty much our episode essentially.
Cool.
So I don't remember the timeline there, but it happened within that area, and it's been fun. I think I burn out more often at that job than I do at the school, of course, where it's you get the rush. It's a very like high populated area out there, and especially once people found out about Dutch Bros, what it is and stuff like that. Ever since then, it's been every day. We see hundreds and hundreds of people. It's insane.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's at this point, like if I went back to the time of training and I like had a vision into how busy it was gonna look, I probably would have turned back because it was like it's horrifying.
Wow.
But it's fine now that we're all trained and we know what's going on. And that was another example of a crew that stuck together.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's only a few remaining, but like the original like wave of hires like stuck around for like 2 solid years there.
Cool.
And so it was yeah, it was the similar thing that kept me around. Was like I was like, well, this is having an effect on people, and I like the people I work with, and that does it for the most part. And at times the pay can be really solid if the tips are good.
Yeah.
So it's the whole like base pay wasn't that concerning once you realize people are pretty nice. The tipping culture is pretty good. So.
Yeah. Louis C.K. has a good bit. Where he goes with the bit is a totally different story, but he's in line. I don't go to Starbucks anymore because it's just, and he goes, so I go to like the hip, the Howling Dew or whatever it's called, and he gets up to the and the guy's like, hey man, how's it going? And he's like, good. Can I have a? And he goes, yeah, man, totally. And he's like he was surprised that he had all the ingredients and the equipment behind him to make what I ordered. It's pretty funny.
That's a thing too. Is we do have we use real espresso machines and stuff, so that's a cool thing. I know Starbucks now it has like the auto packet system where I don't know how it works, but it's more like a machine with buttons, and there's already like pre-packaged shots in the machine.
Yeah.
You hit a button and it sort of like slides that shot out and boils it into a tin, and it's okay stuff. But I think if it can be grinded on site, pulled on site, and brewed on site, that is like awesome. So
nice.
That's a plus for sure.
Bass in Major Matt Mason, USA.
Yes.
You got a gig. This is another thing that's been part of your fabric for a minute now. Mm-hmm. You got a gig at Velo Garage, June 13th. Velo Garage and Tap House, 1403 Swift in North KC, June 13th. I've never been to that venue. It's the name makes it sound really cool.
Yeah.
You've played there before?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know how many times now. Quite a lot.
Okay.
It's a good summer venue.
And the Major Matt outfit, you're something of a long-term staple. Matt, are the other members also long?
Yep, Matt and Brian. Matt on guitar and vocals, Brian on the drums. We've been the same since 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
I've definitely reached out since your episode to Matt, Major Matt, Facebook. I don't know where. Trying to, hey, and nothing. So if you see him,
I think he would be a great guest.
Tell him to holler at me.
Yeah. I'll tip him on it. I think Brian, our drummer, would be awesome too. He is you may learn like soon here if we talk about some of the other projects. He is a major reason for my current network, just like
cool.
my overall music network right now. And he's the nicest, one of the nicest guys ever. He's like killer drummer, and he's like in a lot of the other bands. And he's like, he showed me a lot of the new avenues and new friends that I have today, and he has quite a lot of stories. He owned, and it's weird saying this like in such short term, but he owned a record store called Black Cat Vinyl. You may have seen it somewhere.
And they recently posted that there was some kind of
just closed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has always been more of a pop-up record store. So
I think I've reached out to them too.
Yep. And he would usually, ask coffee shops or libraries and bookstores, whatever it may be, to, take a spot, set up in a corner, sell some records, and he used to do that every week or so, and then he had an opportunity to start a little brick and mortar thing in the basement of Turnsole Books, which is on Truman. Don't remember the exact intersection, but that outfit, this whole thing, it's like this big web of Turnsole Books are the former employees of Revolution Records, which I believe is closed nowadays.
Yeah, I think so.
And Revolution Records used to be a huge gigging spot for me as well. So it jumped off from Revolution. Turnsole started at some more of a bookstore. And then that's a gigging spot now too. They do all kinds of shows over there.
Cool.
That's something we'll probably talk about more. But Brian's awesome.
Nice.
Matt's awesome. I think they'd both be great guests, but they're very busy dudes.
Yeah. I had somebody just yesterday reply to an outreach and say, I'm sorry, I'm just too busy with keeping the website up and my job. And it's like, oh, I get it. Grindstone, cover band for hire, bass in that as well, at grindstone.band on Instagram and Facebook. How did this escape our discussion previously?
No idea.
Okay.
I felt so bad when I heard that episode back, and I was like, I really didn't mention them, and there was no intention at all. I think we were so, Chowk was a brand new thing.
Yeah.
I think that took a lot of focus.
Yes.
But Grindstone is my longest lasting project.
Wow.
And it's going on since I pretty much started doing music.
Okay.
I would say. At least doing music seriously. But I had been playing with those people in Grindstone, like off and on in other things, even before that. So like you could say maybe a decade,
right?
Like just knowing those guys.
So how do we get your Instagram handle fixed on the Grindstone page?
Is it
Dane_Bridges, which makes it stand out because all the other ones are blue and yours is black. So, but I think it needs to be GD, right? Mm-hmm. So whoever's running that page.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Like to match my handle on the other.
Because if you click on the other folks, it'll go to their page, but it won't go to yours because that's not the right thing.
I have access to that page,
okay.
So I can go fix that.
There
That's probably because I didn't used to be GD on Instagram, so it changed.
So you changed your handle.
Yeah, it changed on the Instagram end, and then it probably on the Facebook end it did not flip over or whatever page that connects to.
What prompted the handle change?
Something minimal.
Okay.
My first name is Jeffrey.
Okay.
And so it just made sense.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people, their names on Instagram are rarely full or even their name. So I was like, let's find something just easy that can just show up on a page somewhere or something like that.
Gotcha.
Or easy to tag or something. I don't know.
You mentioned Grindstone has lots of gigs coming up.
Yeah. So on a good month, we play every weekend. We play every weekend in May coming up here.
Cool.
We've been doing that thing for a long time. The friends that I've been playing with for a long time kind of grew up together doing music with, and they're just some of the best. I mean, like our drummer Trey is like. Has been drumming since, it's not even an exaggeration, has been like hitting things with sticks since he was 4. And I think he probably had his like rudiments down by like 5.
Damn.
Like, he was insane.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's absurd, and he's just recently turned into a working musician. He's like a guy for hire. Like bands hire him to do studio stuff, and he gets hired to play gigs. And he's... like he's doing stuff in Nashville now every now and then. Like he's gonna.
I was surprised to see that cover band was as specific as it got. So that tells me that the the web is pretty wide of things that
Totally,
you will
yeah.
cover.
I think we've always had kind of a goal of trying to cover a wide net of eras and stuff like that, and it goes really well for a lot of general venues for us to play a good mixture of stuff. You know, you have a lot of people in the crowd of different ages and different upbringings. You play a Guns N' Roses song here, you get a particular corner going crazy. You play a Foo Fighters song here, you get the other corner going
Yeah.
crazy. It's really cool to see the reactions you get when you switch between that stuff. And I think our worry was, alienating certain audiences by focusing too hard on something. Why don't we just try and be like I don't like saying it this way, but like a good at all, master at none kind of thing, where like you kind of just throw a bunch of things in there. And it's something we've always just done for fun, but it has just circumstantially turned into a paying gig now.
This just caught my eye. Tell me about this piece of jewelry that you're wearing.
This is
the beads and the jewel itself.
I love this thing. This is from my aunt. She, I think it was on my birthday.
Okay.
Don't know. That's pretty much it. That's
okay. What is the?
I don't know. She's been creating a lot of stuff like this, bracelets.
She made that
and stuff. Yep.
Nice.
Yep. And she just puts like random charms on it. And
okay.
Stuff like that. It's just like a palm.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Holiday at Sea since 2023. Occasional gigs and an EP dropped in August.
Mm-hmm.
Foxtrot Delta Tango. Does the title of that EP mean what I think it means? I love it. So Chalk dissolves in 2023. Shouts out to Jason from episode 66. Cheers to his health and happiness. And Holiday at Sea happens kind of quickly afterwards. Is that?
Yeah, that was an. Oh, sorry.
No, just how did that relationship come to be?
That was another thing that I kind of eyeballed timeline-wise, because I know I think on Facebook when I started posting and connecting myself to that group was around the Chouk sort of fizzling out. So around that territory, and this is a Brian connection. So Brian from Major Matt Mason has always had a solo project called Holiday at Sea. It started as kind of like a semi singer-songwriter kind of thing. It was always pretty well arranged. He would record like all the instruments himself.
Oh, wow.
And he's got lots of material. I wanted to say in the text that like it's like EP something out of like, it's like, I don't know, like 8 or something like that. I don't know how many there are, but if you go to his Bandcamp or his streaming, there's a lot of stuff on there, most of which I'm not involved in.
Remind me Brian's last name again.
Brian Hurtgen, I think you pronounce it. BRIANHURTGEN.
Okay.
Hurtgen. But he has always had that project where he kind of writes outside of the bands he's in, so area to put his ideas and stuff, and it's always been very consistent. He has a sound to him that's very comes off as a little bit of a lighter pop punk kind of feel sometimes. There's a lot of Smashing Pumpkins influence every now and then because that's his favorite band. I get a lot of stuff from it, but it's existed in some like band lineups before. I think the two major ones is it was a trio out of St. Louis before it was a KC based thing, and when Brian moved here, pretty sure I want to say he started going with Major Matt before that, but I don't totally know. If he's on, you'll need to ask him because I don't know his whole thing. But Holiday at Sea at this point is a 5-piece. With me on bass. We got Brian on the vocals and guitars. He writes a lot of the stuff. We got Spencer White of Blanc Guitars on guitar. He has a custom guitar building company called Blanc Guitars.
Cool.
And we've got Bo Gabriel Smith on the drums. He right now, I believe he's still there. He's a drummer at Hammer's Dueling Piano Bar.
Yeah.
He is crazy drummer. Then we have Logan Park on the guitar, who will appear in From Me soon here.
Three guitars?
Three guitars, yeah. It's pretty dense.
Three guitarists, one of which is doing vocals, drums, and then bass.
Yep.
Okay.
And a
Okay.
lot of the music was written before I came in, and it was they had one of their current members doing bass before I joined, and then someone else doing bass even before that, and it was just an easy connection when they were out of a bassist and they needed to play a show. I already knew him through Matt.
Yeah.
It started as just kind of a, it didn't feel like a temporary thing or anything, but it felt like, I don't know where this will go. It was just, let's play a couple shows and see where it goes. And anytime someone starts asking me about, hey, we've got this going on, you want to fill in or do something like that, I immediately jump on the material to figure out if it's something that I can I can work on. And I already knew a little bit about his stuff, so I looked at it like his two most popular EPs and just started learning songs and stuff.
Most popular because you can see.
First ones that pop up on like Spotify or something like that, or the ones that he has put on CD as well.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
it's
okay.
kind of the ones he especially pushes or tries to sell.
Yeah.
Kind of go for that.
So growing up, listening to, a lot of FM radio, classic rock, building my cassette library around that, and branching out into different genres and avenues. I struggled quite a bit to hear the bass, and I think that it's a mixture of. This is just my theory. I have no, tangible evidence to prove it, but I feel like, generally speaking, in the 70s and 80s, bass was a little bit lower in the mix.
Totally.
On the
Yeah.
okay, and then also I think there's a trained ear element too, because it is a lower frequency, and guitars, especially 70s and 80s, like super loud, and
Yeah.
vocalists are loud, so like making the discovery of I can hear the bass. I have the ability to hear it even on a song I've never heard before was really wild and awesome. If you have never heard a Holiday at Sea track before and somebody puts it on and you've got decent sound to listen to it through, can you hear all three guitars? You personally, as a music listener?
If I focused in really hard, probably. I think the hard thing there is I don't even know if he arranges three guitars in his, like, a lot of his solo recordings, because they're only a fraction, actually, like maybe only one or two EPs worth of his stuff is a band doing it.
Okay.
And a lot of it is just him, so I don't know much about like how much you're hearing or how much he ended up recording. I think the three guitars at this point is just because we all really like each other, and like the arrangement is awesome and it sounds great. Whether or not that all made it into the recordings the way it usually happens live, it probably didn't, but there were probably some thoughts put towards how can we make this more, give this purpose.
Yeah.
How can we arrange these guitars? I would say like when you start to get to more than two guitars, whether it's three or four, and most studio tracks already have many guitars layered on top of each other just for thickness. It comes down to a texturing thing rather than a part writing thing. Sometimes it would be hard, at least right off the cuff, to arrange three guitars doing totally separate parts and have that be not messy, or to not be like instantly like, yes, that's it, the gut reaction.
Yeah.
It can happen. There are plenty of bands that do it, but I can't imagine that being super easy. But I think what it comes down to is how does that sound when you overlay them in just the right way? If you have maybe two rhythms playing together in a lead, or maybe two leads with harmonies and a rhythm and stuff like that, So,
I strip it down even one more layer. When I first started like actually getting into the Grateful Dead and understanding what all is going into this sonic spectrum, it's like there's two dudes on kits, and right, and one's kind of just he's doing, and the other has toms and a whole bunch of other
Yeah.
things. Okay, all right, I can hear Phil Lesh on the bass. I can definitely always hear the keys, and I would argue, there was never a more iconic sound than Jerry, not only equipment wise and guitar wise, but the two different schools of thought that influenced him and made him into just a really unique sound. And here's Bobby over here playing rhythm guitar, and I'm no guitarist, but I can play a C, a G, an F, and a. I know some bar chords. I know, generally speaking, what a solo could
Yeah.
look, what a neighborhood it should be in on the fretboard, but I can never hear Bobby. I can
Interesting.
just, and I don't know if it's my ear is untrained, but,
Yeah.
or if he's too low in the mix, but it's just the first example that comes to mind. And there are others.
That's a great example.
Like I could hear, Malcolm Young of AC/DC, rest in
Yeah.
peace, a little, cause Angus is kind of, he's doing some power chords and then he'll solo, but then he's quiet for a minute and it allows me to hear Malcolm. But there are plenty of situations where I'm like, why do we have three guitarists right now?
It's a really interesting question, and
With no disrespect to Holiday at
no,
Sea, it
totally.
just
I get the eyebrow raise. I mean, it happens all the time where, like, you're setting up at a show and sometimes sound guys like, and it's just like, people know that that's a little bit of a handful to deal with three guitars. Absolutely. It's a hard thing to mix on stage and not have it be just like this harsh wall of, sound. And maybe that's what some people are going for. One that popped to mind, contemporary example of Foo Fighters have been a three guitar band for
have
years
they
now. Yeah,
really.
they've got Pat Schmier, Chris Shiflett, and Dave Grohl. All
What an
Schmier.
unfortunate name.
All playing guitar at the same time. Pat Schmier has been in the band almost the whole time. He's from Nirvana. He did like a good chunk of guitar work with them, especially for the live stuff. And I'm sorry, but I don't know where he's at. Like on the recordings.
Even now.
And
No, I mean,
yeah, no, totally. Yeah, and it's like they just put out a record, and I heard it, and it's so funny that we come into this conversation because it's not bad. I listened through it. It's not
this
something.
is a new Foo Fighters record.
Yeah, new
okay.
record that's called Your Favorite Toy.
Interesting.
And I listened through it, and there is like, and maybe if you reached in there, you reached into the studio tracks, and you like rug pulled a guitar out of there, maybe I'd be like, there it is. But I can't.
But that's a big ask.
Yeah, but I can't. Like I've listened through that, and I can't possibly tell you what the point is. Of like the three,
Which is
guitar
not a diss to
no.
the artist or what they're contributing,
I'm
but
sure
it's
they're
like
doing great. It's just, yeah, I'm listening to it. It's very, and the guitar sound on this particular record especially is pretty harsh and very very high register range wise. It's very like shh, like when those guitars are going, it's like a, they did this on the last record too. I thought the cymbal and the guitar mixing especially was like, you're listening through it and it's like the bottom end is like bass and kick and snare, and the top end is just white noise and a little
Weird.
bit of vocals in the middle. And it's like, I'm not sure what the like engineering choice is here, but it's wrecking my head right now. Just like it feels like
it's a School of Rock setup where the engineer's like, I'm not going to make it today. And somebody
Exactly.
else like, I got this.
yeah, it's all the kids turning the insane setting on their amp, and
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah. But yeah, I think you pose a great question, and I love it because it's like I would love, if I had the time, I would love to ask every band that, not in a dissing way, but be like, what is your like
End goal.
Yeah, if you could tell me right away, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Like three guitars, what are you doing with them and why?
The other
And,
piece
like,
to that, going back to like, my building grounds of building my library and learning about music and being a true student, like I got this much money, I'm on my bike to the record store, I'm home, and then I'm in my room with the liner notes, studying all this stuff. It took me the longer than it's embarrassing to admit, to go, okay, I understand now. There's one guitarist in this band, but they're they've put down multiple tracks in the studio for this song, and it sounds amazing. I wouldn't change it if you put me in charge, but you can't do that on the road.
Sure. Yeah.
Unless you're bringing along additional musicians, and then everybody's getting, I don't know. It's a wild choice because that was the blueprint. Get in the studio, kick out a record, go on tour in support of the record, rinse, repeat. In the American rock lane.
Yeah.
And so it's like if you're pouring all this time, money, and energy into making a record that you believe in, and the label's got to believe in it too because they want to move units. Why are you putting shit in there that's not gonna? It's not gonna sound like that on the road.
Good point. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, yeah, and that brings up the whole logistical thing of like, are we gonna have touring people who are gonna play those parts? A lot of bands have that planned. Some may not. It all just depends.
Well,
But,
from me, drums, EP, Wakari.
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 Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Out on May 1st, and a gig at the Rhino on May 22nd. I can't remember exactly from last time, but going from bass to drums for you has been like what?
That's been like the most important like creative and physical venture I've ever made, like in music.
I'm really glad you said that because I have it in this tiny little corner of my brain that you were just like, okay, drums now. And I was like, that can't be, it had to be challenging.
No, yeah. No, the whole period of playing bass up until now, I've been hopping onto drum kits and messing around. It started as messing around, like exactly kind of how you like, tinkering around with a really terrible, not in time, beat, and it started as just me, being around drums a lot, just being in band rehearsal spaces. Anytime there's downtime, I'll hop on the drums and try it out. Being at School of Rock a lot, there's drums in pretty much every room. And if there's an open room, you can sit down and try it out. And
it's not bothering the people in the room next to it.
Nope. And there's, it got to a point to where it was just something I wanted to do further. I eventually had a drum kit at home. Then an electric drum kit to keep down on the noise and stuff, and it just.
Did you hang on to the electric drum kit?
Yeah.
Do you still sit at it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. It's a pretty high quality one. It's got like these mesh heads on it that have some rebound, like reel heads and stuff. It'll never be
the same.
Close.
Right.
No.
Right.
But
it serves the purpose.
Yeah, but I can MIDI that into a computer, into a software, and get real samples, and I can play parts that sound almost real.
You used to use MIDI as a verb. That's impressive. I still don't know if it was on a test tomorrow in the noun form. Fill in the. I'd be like, it's button on a keyboard.
That's an intimidating thing. I'm still learning about what the heck that is nowadays. But yeah, so it became a pattern. I always had a blast on the drums, even if I was doing it poorly. And even before I was just doing music in general, there was a drum kit at my cousin Scott's house, the guy that commented on the episode. I always jammed down there. I would always watch my brother and him jamming, my brother on bass, him on drums. And it was always a fascinating thing. And regardless of how important bass is and how that is still without a doubt my main instrument and the thing I'm best at, drums will always be my favorite.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's to me like the most physically expressive instrument, and it's the one instrument I think where people are still discovering things.
Oh yeah.
Because it's a tough thing. It's a really hard thing in music to want to be creative and to feel and effective in any way at it, because technically everything's already been done. Every note has already been played, every chord's already been played. The music theory is there for a reason. That is the blueprint that has already been like pushed into the fold,
sure,
and regurgitated in however many ways. And I think rhythm is something that is a wild card there, because I think rhythm and percussion and like beats and all kinds of stuff like that. I think it's so characteristic of the person behind it, and it's not like other instruments aren't. It's just that other instruments have a tone that they already create by themselves, you know, whether it's like a guitar or a keyboard. Keyboards and synthesizers especially, there's stuff built into that. It's going to sound a certain way, and it takes a lot for the player behind it to become recognizable, because they're going to have to work with that and get good at that until maybe you listen to a track and you're like, oh, I know who that keyboardist is. It's like, really? That's a sound coming out of a machine.
That's
like,
10,000 hours of work from that person
exactly,
to make
right?
you go, oh.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and with guitar, it's the same as all. It's not a jab in any way to say that, you know, people can't express themselves on other instruments, and it's the opposite. But with drums, I feel like it's a little more infinite to me, and maybe that's just because I'm earlier on in that journey. I don't know, but it's at this point, I've been doing it long enough to where I can sit down and learn most regular songs by ear on the drums and figure it out.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe not like Tool or something like
Right.
that. Like, good luck.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's just something I love. And I always wanted to do it in a band. I didn't want to push on that super hard. I was just like, if it happens, it happens. I have no idea if that's meant for me. You know, it's just an if, you know. And
so I was aware of some of these outfits, and this could just be because of who I follow and don't follow. Mm-hmm. But I've had a level of awareness of the multiple projects that you were in. But From Me is the one that has hit my eyeballs far and beyond the rest since we last spoke. Does that seem weird, or is that
no
what's actually happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
That project's definitely been the creative focus for sure.
I mean, it's like every time it's like you're gigging with two other outfits on the bill, and some of those times I know those outfits from this or whatever, and it's like, wow, this thing sort of came into being and
totally.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely has been a big focus, and probably because I just need to make sure I can get good on the drums. Like, that was one thing, but you know, it definitely, I'm in this state on the bass where, you know, and I don't like saying this, but it is true, where in some areas I've become like a little bit like complacent, and where like I can get by on bass without practicing certain things.
Oh shit!
And
dangerous.
And that's, I don't like that. You know, if I had all the time in the world, I would practice every instrument like as much as I can.
Right.
And, but like, I'm at a point where like the bands I play bass in, I can blow off practice for a while and still go and have a solid practice or a show. On the drums, that cannot happen.
Right.
Like it's a muscle memory that I have to keep ticking throughout like the week to even like
multiple massages.
Yeah. And so essentially that From Me became a connection out of Holiday at Sea. That's where the network is like, you know, ever expanding. So Logan Park, the vocalist and guitarist of From Me, is in Holiday at Sea.
Okay.
One of the guitarists. And From Me was a project before I joined, with another drummer at the time, and they had already played quite a few shows. I had seen them multiple times, whether opening for Holiday at Sea, whether playing with other bands. This was one of the local bands that I would go out of my way to see because I loved it. Like, the music was awesome. It was some of the catchiest local like music I've ever heard. Like, was from Me. And
you admired them from afar and then got to be their drummer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
I loved it all so much. It was such easy listening. It was like simple, like pop rock, you know, sometimes a little pop punky, but it was just like straight good rock songs, like verse chorus, easy stuff with a really catchy hook. And, you know, I just heard that stuff, and probably a wicked guitar solo in there, you know.
Yeah.
And it's rare that I can get through a local band set, and this, you know, it's not me saying like I always want these shows to end. The pacing is one thing, but like I would get through like a From Me side, be one of their shows, and I would really need more. Like, I would just like
3 encores, please.
Yeah, more, because it was just like, yeah, like this is so good. And but it was at a show, I believe Holiday at Sea and From Me played at the Mini Bar, and we were all From Me guys, Holiday at Sea guys, were all talking in the parking lot. From Me drummer had already taken off, and Holiday at Sea guys were kind of like talking with the From Me guys on like, hey, like when's the drummer leaving? And they're like, oh, this was the last one. Like this was the last show with that guy, and so I just got wind of that, and turned out, what I learned later on was that drummer is also in a lot of other bands and was unable to keep up with the scheduling, of From Me, and so he was on his way out, and From Me was ready to just coast, figure something out. They were ready to kind of go in to do whatever they needed, whether that was like hiatus or do some just recording, strictly recording stuff or writing. But I got wind of that. I didn't push on it at that time either. I was just like, oh, interesting. Well, that's a bummer. Like, because I was really like wanting to see them keep going, and but there was also another side of my head that was like, man, like if there's anybody like I'd want to start drums with, it would be a band like that. Not even like zeroing in on From Me, but a band of that style I can totally lock in with. Like I think that that style, those kind of drums I was hearing, like that's a good safe point to start with.
It's a good speaks highly to your self-awareness.
Yeah, and the so yeah, like I didn't push on it. Like I said, we went on probably a few months past, and I get a text from Logan, and we're already in touch. We're in Holiday at Sea together, and he was like, "Hey man," he's like, "I know you know about the From Me situation," and he was like, "We've got some new songs." And he's like, we want to get rolling. We want to play shows and stuff. And if you want to come jam and feel it out, the come jam thing is always so funny to me because that means it's going down. Like, you want to come jam, it probably means you're about to go either audition for this band or you're in the band already. Usually, it's like that's always when I see that, I'm just like, jam. Like we're playing songs probably that we're gonna
Cool.
like play some material.
That had to be an exciting text to read.
It was awesome. Yeah, the I was like kind of in a hard place though because I usually they were like we practice on Tuesdays and that's like the only time we're available. And I'm like I work all day Tuesdays, And so I was like shit. So I thought about it for a little while and he was like it's no rush at all. Just let us know if you want to play around a bit. And so I thought about it for a little bit. I'm like, yeah. And I started playing to like the stuff they had released, just playing along to it, seeing if I could
At home?
get into something. Yeah.
Okay.
It felt great. And I was like, so I asked my boss at School of Rock, and this isn't like a nerve-wracking experience. Like my boss is amazing, and he's always at the time that boss has left since, but both bosses I've had at School of Rock have both been endlessly flexible with my schedule. It's
Cool.
Awesome. But I was still scared though because you are choosing to give your students away, to someone else, or possibly put them somewhere more inconvenient on your schedule or something, And so I was like, hey, I have been given an opportunity. I think I might be, unavailable Tuesdays like 5 p.m. and beyond or something like that. And they were like, cool, we'll give it a look. And so slowly but surely we started finding spots. I started letting my students know. I'm like, if you want to find a different day with me, or I can provide you multiple alternatives, instructors.
Wait, I didn't steal you from an obligation today, did I?
Oh, no, not at all. No. That thanks for noticing that too. But no, I guess my explanation of From Me's current story will give way to, but we're not practicing tonight. But essentially, yeah, the work movement worked out. We got it all moved. I went and practiced with them on a Tuesday, and it was like click, like instant.
Wow.
Like we played through a whole set, and it felt like it's like one of the greatest feelings ever, and we were instantly like, we could play a show right now, like in this current state. That was...
It's clicking for you. Can you see from behind the kit pretty much right away that it's working for everybody else too?
Yeah.
Was there a vibe in the room that,
totally.
hey, this is a good thing?
It was. I was really nervous going in, but I felt prepared. I had I had charts with me. I had played and listened to all the material. I played.
Dane guy showed up with charts.
They were astonished by that. They were like, "This dude's playing off of a music stand. What the fuck?"
Hey man, whatever it takes.
And it worked, and I was able to ditch the charts in like a day,
Cool.
because it was just like that good of like a pocket, like, and it was amazing, and it felt great. We're like, yep, let's move forward with this, the creativity kind of just exploded. Logan started writing. Usually he writes the general song first. He has like chords and lyrics happening, and sometimes he'll send a drum demo or a bass demo. He's like, here's what I'm kind of thinking, but he was never like ever pushing that on anyone. He's
that
like,
he puts down himself
yeah. So he would usually record a rough demo on all instruments, and he would send it out.
On what?
He would do it through his computer. He would do like an interface like
And
yours.
then email it, or
Yeah, and he
okay.
would put it in a Google Drive or email it, and he's like, "Here's this song," and he's like, "Put whatever you want to it. This is just what happened in the moment, you know. So it's not like set in stone."
It's crazy that not that long ago, shit like that, it was being put on like, you know, a cart or an 8-track, and then United States Postal System, you're waiting, hoping that it didn't get coffee spilled on it.
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
you know,
Imagine, oh my gosh, you've got this opportunity with a band, and the demos get destroyed
or whatever.
along the-
But
whatever,
but
maybe.
you
yeah.
could.
Faulty tape or something.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
It could be anything.
There you go.
But yeah, essentially we hit it off. It went really well, and we've been doing that for about 2 years now. And put out. There was material already up that was all recorded by Logan himself. So stuff that he just mixed and mastered in his own space. And then we put out 3 singles in 2024. I want to say probably early 2024. We put out 3 singles. We kind of wanted to lump them into an EP, but we put out an EP before that, but that was a weird amalgamation of us and Logan. Like, I didn't record on all of those songs. I think I recorded on 1 or something like that, and we were fine with that. We just wanted to get out there, get some material rolling, get the buzz going that the band was back and doing things. We weren't too worried about like the trio not fully existing in the recorded sense yet, because most of that was done before we got there. But then, you know, the 3 singles leading up to this EP, we all wrote together, and this new EP that we've just put out is probably the most cohesive version of us.
Sweet.
You know, within a room together, that we're able to put out, sort of. Getting back, here's the bittersweet part. Is Logan is moving to Japan.
Wow.
He's making a permanent move abroad with his wife, and it's something they've been wanting to do a long time. It's a place that they love. They go on vacation there all the time.
Where?
And
do you know?
I believe in Nagasaki. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, which is urban, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yep. And it's already like almost done. They've have a house over there already. They've settled on a house.
No kids.
They're moving. No kids. They're moving the dogs over there though. He'll probably be out of here by summer.
When did you learn
I want to say like early to mid last year. And
that it was a thing they were looking at?
I probably knew they were thinking about moving even like way before that.
Okay.
And at the time he had no details. But there was a night I like this story. We were like out in the driveway, like after practice, like just talking, like cheesy moment.
Kicking the hacky sack.
Yeah, cheesy moment. We're like looking up at the stars,
Right.
like talking, you know, and he had some pieces of his drum kit for sale. He had the snare drum. It's a 1970s Ludwig Acrolite. That thing is amazing, and we recorded a lot of the stuff on there. And he put it up for sale just because he was buying, you know, he was replacing it, getting some new drum stuff. And I was like, well, I'm like, he had someone like thinking about buying it already. I'm like, if that person doesn't work out, you know, let me know, because I love that snare. I'll buy it from you. And he was like, well. He's like, here's the deal. And he just went right into it. And he was like, we're moving. And he told me the whole shebang. And, you know, I took it really well. Part of me, I think the back of my head saw this coming. I had a feeling that the move was going to be serious and it was possibly going to put us out, like, of being able to do anything. And but I didn't, I never pushed on that. And he was like, tell you what, he's like, if the snare is still around when I leave, take it. He's like, free. He's like, in fact, take as much of that drum set as you can get out of my basement. And I was like, okay. And he was,
I'll hold you to that.
yeah. And he was, and he was like, that's the plan so far. And he's like, and we don't know what the future holds. It might not work. And he was like, but so at the time, immigration wasn't cleared or anything. It was very uncertain. They didn't have a home or anything. But yeah, it's closer than it's ever been now. And so from that point on, we later, that was just a conversation between me and him. We quickly brought it up to the bassist later, and he was really cool about it. He was so supportive of it about it because our bassist Logan G, there's two Logans in this group. Logan G lived in Germany for about 5 years, and he was like, moving abroad is the best thing you'll ever do. And he's like, you got to do it. And that terrifies me, to be honest. But I haven't done it, so we'll see. But he said that, and so
it's crazy because I like a bucket list item for me is Japan.
Yeah.
And I want to do like 6 months, get some rural, get some urban, get a feel, and then maybe I come home and make plans to make that permanent.
I'd love to see.
Maybe not, but super rad.
Yeah.
And terrifying.
Totally, absolutely, yeah. And we were all super supportive of it, and still are, of course. Super
How did they
supportive
land
of
on
it.
doing that? And that location.
I think I've been thinking about it for a long time. I think because they've been going on vacation to Japan for years, and I think they knew pretty early.
It's got to be a brutal flight.
Oh yeah, I think they knew pretty early that it was something. It was a place that they thought about more long term, and they just enjoy it a lot over there. And so,
will they work? Are they?
Sounds like they're getting jobs as teachers, potentially English. We'll see, but I would imagine that's the best job you can get as an American.
I wonder, where the American brain goes is, do teachers earn enough over there to pay for home and
that's
whatever?
A good question. Yeah, I don't know.
Because why would you, if it's good in your country, why would you come to the U.S. to teach something when you're going to starve?
Yeah. Some things worked out. If they've closed on a house, we'll see longevity-wise how that works. He did say, he's like, we're still not out of the woods. He's like, maybe we get there and we hate it. He's like, I have no idea. And he's like, so, but he's like, for safety, I think, I'm letting you guys know because that's what's happening. And he, man, this guy's too humble, man. He was like... He's like, you guys get a new vocalist, and you just keep going.
That was what I was going to ask.
He was like, you guys keep going, and we're just like, no, man.
He said he kind of wrote the bulk of the songs, too?
He writes the stuff. He's the catchy hook. He's the guy that comes up with all this. He's the guy who created the band that I fell in love with, So I don't think it's out of the question, me continuing with other Logan, but it wouldn't be from me. It would have to turn into a completely different thing.
When I see from me in its accurate 2-word with a space in between spelling, or with an @ symbol, all one word, it bothers me in both, because it's 2 words that we're not. Maybe on Christmas, who's this for? Oh, it's from me. What is the origin story of that name?
I have no idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, I don't think I've asked Logan much about it, but it's a controversial name for sure. The Major Matt guys, like, when they first found out about that, they were like, I don't like the name. I'm like, I know. And
concur. I mean, it only, like, it's fine.
No, yeah,
but just seeing it,
it's weird, right?
Bothers me in those 2 iterations.
There's a problem in this new world of technology to have your band name be a part of a sentence. It doesn't pop up in the algorithm. And that's the issue. Is like, you don't search up From Me on Google or streaming right now and find us. It's not possible.
Weird.
So that's been a hard thing. So we tag and link as much as possible to make sure.
Know the story.
Don't know. I think I hitting the ground running. I didn't ask many questions about anything.
Fair.
I think,
Yeah.
but
I got charts to write.
yeah, it's something I need to ask him about. I think what I do remember about him rambling about it was that he sees the band, the lyrical content, a lot of the lyrics come off as some kind of like past tense or could have been, would have been, should have been kind of thing. A lot of the songs are like about like they kind of sound like they're about relationships. There are certain song meanings that I do know about and some that I just never asked about. But it's the lyrics are typical and sometimes generic, but they're delivered in this way that's very storytelly in certain areas, and sometimes it comes off as like I've always thought about it as like a letter from me.
Okay, cool.
Something
I like that.
Where it sounds like some of the lyrics come off as like maybe this is a written message to someone, to who, I don't know. Maybe that's the point. It's an ambiguous thing that you're supposed to identify with, maybe as a listener. But
Wow.
that's always been my view of it. But
wild. I was not expecting that.
Yeah. And so
I love that you also led with "I love this story," even though it's kind of devastating.
I don't know, something vivid about that conversation, like, and how easy he was about it, how easy I was about it. Nobody was ever upset about this. It's weird how that energy was just in the air already.
Nary a tear was shed.
No.
Wow.
Just
I would have been like, you can't go, man.
Soon to tell, man.
Right.
This last show's going to wreck me. That's my next point. May 22nd. It's the farewell.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't know when this episode comes out.
We have, so David's is so a week from Thursday, which is, what, the 6th? 7th?
That's not bad at all. Yeah. From this Thursday?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 7th.
The 7th, okay.
Awesome. Yeah, so even if the episode did come out late, like, I don't mind at all. I'm just saying it's the timing ended up being convenient. I didn't really plan on appearing this early. Like I said, I thought maybe let's give it some extra time, but I was like, hey, From Me is closing a chapter. The EP is out, and I also want to talk about some music. So let's lump all this up into a bag and talk about it.
Well, we'll have to decide between now and next Wednesday night, I guess, if we're putting that in the verbiage for the post or you know what I'm saying? Or if we're going to keep it inside the episode, and if you listen or view, you can find out, but you guys will announce on your own. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's already well known right now.
Okay,
that's
fair.
That's the send off. So
don't have to worry about stepping on toes.
Yeah, you say whatever you want. You can be as transparent as you want about anything I've said here, at any point.
Okay.
Even the EP. I can even say it right now. The EP is on Bandcamp right now. You can go find it. But the streaming release doesn't hit till Friday here.
Wakare. Okay.
You can find it there. And
what's that mean?
Wakare means farewell in Japanese.
Oh, well, damn. There you go.
Yep. There you go.
Perfect.
The whole story wrapped up in that title, and the cover of the EP is a Japanese train station. It's like,
that's awesome.
On your way out.
Wow.
And we poured a lot of work into it. We started working on it in January. The songs were probably written through January, recorded in February.
Where?
In our practice space.
Okay.
So we have enough gear, mics, software, and stuff to do that. Is it the product you'd see if I took it to a professional? Probably not, but Logan is a fantastic producer.
Okay.
And
Logan 1. OG Logan.
They hate it when I call them by numbers.
Okay.
It's so funny because I'm like, Logan Park has always been Logan 1 to me, and then Logan G is
Other Logan.
Yeah, Logan G is like, hey, what about? Yeah, but no, I love them both, and they, we recorded it together, kind of, started out in pieces. It was just getting things going, testing out, the setup. There was a lot of tweaking with the room to get it to points where we liked how it sounded with the mics. I tried out a whole bunch of different cymbals. I tried out a different snare for a few songs, and it all came together really well. A lot of the takes on there, drum takes that we went with, were like me at my end, like at my just like at the end of like already having recorded for like 3 or 4 hours.
Like you're gassed?
Yeah, and I'm just like I am like I'm stuck on a song maybe. That stuff is hard. This was my first time recording drums, like period. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And the pressure's on, you've got a click in your ear, like, and you don't necessarily have to record live.
Actually?
Yeah.
Which is where the click track comes from?
Totally, yes.
So I thought, here's what, how little I know. I thought, okay, I'm Logan. I write on the guitar, and maybe I noodle around and put a bass track in there, and then I put the click track in there, and I send it to you. You learn the drum parts, and then we take the click track out completely and replace. I didn't know that the drummer listens to it while doing it.
That's not a bad way to look at it, and I'm sure that it has probably been done in that order. But the click track is meant to serve as the
like a crutch of sorts.
Yeah. For a lot of, not every band uses it. Most studios will require it. That you as a drummer can get in there and play to a
for the name of efficiency.
Yeah, for
you don't want to do
efficiency,
120 takes per song.
Yeah, it's going to help the engineer be able to, if there's anything that's out of place, everything was done to that click. Anything can be shifted around into these little blocks, these layers that were recorded to the click initially. If everybody plays well, and
again,
plays in
technology.
It's crazy.
That was not an option not that long ago.
And and a lot of that stuff we weren't able to do. And from me, our skill ceiling is limited when it comes to that kind of stuff. But the click will help at least make sure that any changes made, we have a reference timing wise and how to keep track of that.
That's super handy.
It's really intimidating, but it's really handy. And if I were to record blind to the songs at the speed that I saw fit, that is what I felt in the moment, and that may never be the way it feels again. So it's important for the
how do you recreate if something goes awry?
Yeah, and so playing drums to a click is maybe a newer thing for me. I can do it, but when I have a bunch of other tracks going on, some other instruments in my ears, the balance of like I need the click a little louder or quieter, and I need to figure out how much of that click I need to let in and how much of the instruments I need to let in to put on a good performance here, get a good take. Most of the time, most people will say play to the click, don't play to anything else. It's like, yeah, I get it. That's just to make sure that the time is perfect. But sometimes when you're playing to just you can't feel it the way you want to.
The same as a metronome.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this was helpful.
Yeah.
Now I want it to go away immediately.
Exactly.
It's driving me bonkers.
Yeah. The goal is to hopefully, remove the click pretty early in the process, and the guitars and bass often get played to the feel of the drums. Because once the drums are set and secure, you've got the best foundation. You've got a good performance.
The foundation.
Yeah, you've got a good performance, and it's in time. Everything else is pretty smooth sailing, recording over that. And to me, the hard part's out of the way. I won't speak for the other musicians, but yeah, it was crazy. We got through it, but like a lot of those takes that are on there was like me, be like, all right, let's call it. And Logan's like, one more. And usually that one more is the one that made it on there. It was like me just
That's pretty cool.
spending myself and finding that one way just to do it. And I think if I practiced a little harder, I say it, but I already practiced the drums. I think if I practiced even harder leading up to recording time, it wouldn't have been that hard for me. But it was a new experience.
Yeah.
Like it was the
learning curve.
Looking back, I think there's a lot of things I can improve and change, but there's something something that I appreciate about immortalizing the imperfection that was coming out of me at that time. Because that was the drummer I was at that time. And whether we record something new for that project some way down the line, Logan comes into town and we record, that's not out of the question. Or I record drums with another project, that is a new window into where I'm at as a musician at that time. So I'm not totally worried about the mistakes. It's just like, is this, the best representation of us and the way we did it, and so.
I want to back up just for a second.
Yeah, totally.
You're in school, and you say, okay, I need to step away from this for a moment, and now you're just working, and you get in this routine of sleep, work, repeat. And then Dutch Brothers comes in, and you call it something to help me fill my mornings. So I'm seeing your day, your morning, your sleep schedule, whatever, have different shapes and forms over this period of time. Are you currently same ish time to bed and to rise each day, or are you all over the place? Or
It's pretty consistent. Yeah,
okay,
it's not good. It's like um, at the latest, midnight.
okay,
But I can easily go to bed at 10 or 11 if I just coax myself into it.
sure,
And at the earliest, I'm up at 4:30.
okay.
To if I'm opening at that coffee shop.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. At the but if did I say latest? At the earliest, I'm up at 4:30. At the latest, I'm up at like 7.
Okay,
So that changes, and
yeah.
sometimes when that doesn't become consistent, it can smack me around a
I
bit.
bet.
But I've at this point have it down to a science. Like I know how many hours I can get and be functional, and how many hours will absolutely kill me, like wreck me the next day. Yeah.
Covet that, because it gets harder when you get older.
I'm certain of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right now. It's at a point where like I have it all timed out, and I have my you would love to see my like color coded calendar over here of all the things I do in a week. It's ridiculous, but it's working, and I am not unhappy in any way, and that's all I can that's all I can ask for right
So
now.
the From Me EP, Wakare, out on 5/1, but if you look now, you can find it. Gig at the Rhino on 5/22.
Yep.
You joined From Me in 2024, and a year later, you launched Straylight, a synth-based solo project that has a YouTube and Bandcamp. Motivation for that was what?
I couldn't tell you where it came from. Well, no, I do. I developed a sort of a new and pretty spontaneous fascination with synthesizers and keyboards and stuff like that. Keys has always been something I've played
Really?
in a beginner to intermediate sense, because from the beginning of my bass lessons, my bass teacher did not give me a bass book to study on. He gave me a piano book. And he had
On purpose.
yeah,
Okay.
he had me learn how to read the piano. He had me learn how to read both staffs, the treble and the bass staff, which I'm still not great at. But
Which essentially is a right-handed left
yep,
hand? Okay.
he wanted me to understand the big picture, the spectrum of music, and where I fit there
Seems
as
smart.
the bassist. Yeah, gosh, genius. If it's Ben Harris, uh, Ben Harris jazz. This guy, like, he's a jazz bassist. I don't know where he's at nowadays. He
Okay.
stopped teaching a long time ago, but I if I could go back to him and continue learning, like I would do it right now, no matter what day, what time. Like the most just incredible, rewarding like teacher ever, and like to this day I regret so much just not asking more questions. I think he retired. I don't know where he is. He just stopped teaching. He started doing some gigs on the side, and I have not seen anything from him, and I just hope he's well. But I wish I asked more questions. I wish I sought more knowledge, but I wasn't at a point where I knew what to look for, And now,
Sure.
now I'm at this point where I'm like, someone help me,
Don't know what you don't know.
exactly with these things that I'm now discovering, but I wish I could have asked about. As a teacher, I'm constantly finding ways to overhaul like my lessons and be able to teach music theory in a better way. And every now and then I think about it. I'm like,
What would Ben do?
am I doing the right thing? How would he explain this and stuff like that? But anyways, yeah, he gave me a piano book. I learned how to read the piano pretty quick, how to look at it, translate it, know how it works. Shortly after that, I learned how to form basic chords on the piano, and just know where everything happens. I wasn't an efficient player. If I was asked to learn a song by ear on the keys, piano, synth, whatever, I would not be able to do it.
Yeah, and you have something at
But
home?
yeah,
Okay.
but I would be able to at least be like, I know that this song is using a G here. I hear that. I'm not sure I can like make it play well here. But I could take that G, port it over to the bass or guitar, and make it work right away. And so the keyboard became my translator for other instruments because I enjoyed reading piano much more than anything else. I was able to see all of my notes on a horizontal axis on this instrument instead of what I consider the X and Y axis of the bass and guitar.
Okay.
You have your fretboard going horizontally, your frets this way, but you also have your strings going this way.
Yep.
You also have multiple octaves, like multiple sets of notes that are intersecting in all these different areas. It's a grid of things, and it's terrifying when you're just starting out on it.
I'd rather go live abroad.
Exactly. And the keyboard nixes that whole arrangement and shows you everything in one line, chromatically, which is just one note after another.
Huh.
And that stuck for me. I was just like, it's alphabetical. It's as easy as that. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I can see it all right there. Now I'm going to learn how to find it here and find it on the guitar. And then it all started to click. Or
That's
the guitar
cool,
or the
man.
bass. Both guitar and bass have been interchangeable instruments for me. I teach both of them. And to this day, I've not played guitar in a band. And I don't know why, but I could. We'll see someday.
Maybe Straylight evolves
We'll
into...
see. Anyways, to the point, I was like, man, I was, and this will sound off topic, but this is where I got the tip on a synthesizer maybe I wanted to try out. I knew that I always liked synths. I knew that I heard them in music. They were this elusive instrument where I'm just like, man, that's awesome. And it's always a texture I love to hear. It's always a texture that's very brave to add to certain types of music too, where I'm just like, it can be really crazy, it could be really fitting, it could be a lot of things, and synths can sound like whatever you want them to sound like. That's the crazy part too. And so, but I was listening to this local band called Idle Heirs. Heirs as in like heir to the throne.
Okay.
And
That's weird because it's either the plural of the air we breathe or plural of the abbreviation of errors, but it's neither one.
exactly how I heard when I heard the name. I was like, errors. That's how I thought about it. But Idle Heirs is a product of Josh Barber and
Okay.
Sean Ingram.
Okay.
Josh Barber is a producer in the local area. Kick ass, dude. I mean,
Josh and Sean?
Josh and Sean is the vocalist from a band no longer together now called Coalesce.
Okay.
And those guys are both awesome. They have this new band called Idle Heirs. They're probably going to go on tour soon, I believe. But
Actual?
yeah.
Wow.
They released a record, their debut record, called Life is Violence. I want to say that was either last year or the year before. But I met Josh through Dutch Bros. Weirdly.
Wow.
And still, the music connection's coming, and I'm not even in my element. I'm not I'm not teaching, I'm not playing shows. Crazy. And but Josh started coming to Dutch Bros a lot. He gets a cold brew. We know his drink. We often have it made before he gets there.
Dang.
He's a regular. Like, we know him. We chat with him. And I start,
That's a lot of octane, a cold brew.
Oh, yeah.
That's
that gets
not,
him going.
I'm. Take me to the hospital if you're gonna make me drink one of those.
On the serious days where I don't have much of a gap between the things I do, that's my approach. But I usually abstain from something that heavy because it's like, yeah, I'm the one who does get like twitchy when like I get
Same.
the caffeine going
Yeah.
and stuff. So
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyways, I learn more about Josh. I learn about the bands he's in. I'm like, I don't know, I'm gonna check out that record he put out. And it's not like I wasn't expecting anything, but if someone asks me to check out a local project, you just don't know what to expect.
Right.
It could be the greatest thing, it could be something you forget, and that's just the nature of it. But I checked it out, and it was massive. It's like it's metal. It's a hard rock record, maybe a hardcore record, if you will, but it's really heavy. It's harsh vocals, screaming, and like stuff like that, and it blew my mind the kind of sound a local producer was able to create. Not like they couldn't, but like I've never heard a record this huge from a local producer. Like in terms of just sonic quality. the only other person I can compare is Paul Malinowski from Shiner.
Okay.
Who is my probably my favorite local producer. Period. But
Really?
yeah,
Has he produced other people's stuff?
he produced the first two Major Matt Mason singles.
Okay.
He has produced. I produced this band that probably nobody talked about now called Knife Crime.
Okay.
That only released one album. I don't think they're together now, but they were started by a guy named Byron, who was in a band called Killer City, who I played with Major Matt multiple times.
Okay.
We met Knife Crime. We played a bunch of shows with them. I think that's how I learned a little more about Paul's work. But I already knew about his work through Shiner and stuff like that. And but yeah, so Josh put out that record. I listened to the record. There's this noise. There's this sound happening on some of these songs. These songs that are dominantly guitar, bass, and drums and vocals. But there's this hissing, this haunting noise that is just permeating inside the mix, and I can't tell where it is. It's filling the space. It's doing things that are un-guitar-like, it's this weird like UFO in the music, where I'm just like, what the heck is that? And it's really completing the whole thing. Like I'm just like, it's like this thing where I'm like, if it wasn't there, I don't think this would have as much of the character that I'm hearing. And I realized that I found out Josh has a YouTube channel where he does production breakdowns on the music that they put on the record. He sits there and he's in his studio and he walks you through the tracks, the track by track, and he's like, so here's how I did the guitars and the bass, the synth, and the drums and everything. It's awesome, super educational, and I love bands that do that, by the way. And he was like, I used an ASM Hydrasynth for all of the droning sounds on this record, and he played the sound by itself, and I'm like, that's the thing, that's
the glue,
that's the thing that's doing that thing for me. And so it's like, a little bit of a gas thing. I don't know if you've heard of gear acquisition syndrome. That's the acronym that musicians will throw around. But I had this flood of gas for this device, and I was like, I love the sounds that thing's creating. I know a little bit about keys, but very little about synthesizers. But it's always a time to start. And I was just starting to how to say, kind of getting rid of some of my arsenal. I had sold a lot of basses. I'm still in the process of minimalizing and having only the things around that I play. I'm down to just the 3 basses I gig with. I'm down to just 1 bass amp. I'm down to my pedal board. And I'm down to like 2 guitars.
Are you Facebook Marketplace for a lot of this stuff?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, super. Yeah, that's been working really well. I'm down a lot of drum stuff. I just have my regular drum kit, my electric kit, and only the cymbals I need. I sold the rest of my cymbals.
What about the Ludwig pieces from? I guess he's not gone yet.
The Acrolite is with me now. Yep. I took only that one. If he wants to give me any more, I'm interested, but I'm not like super attached to anything else on the kit.
Okay.
But yeah, I do have that snare now, so he kept his word on that. But yeah, so I got that synth. I got it from Sweetwater, which is
I was my first guess.
Yep.
I mean, folks, I've never heard anybody. I haven't talked to that many people about it, but most folks are like, Sweetwater's pretty sweet.
It's the best. It's crazy. And sometimes people who work on commission, they can be a certain way, you know, and those Guitar Center people are like, hey, can I help you with something? And then they're just hovering, and you're like, gosh, I get it. You're doing your job. But the Sweetwater guys, you would assume like it's the same thing, but these guys know their shit. And like they may be a little bit, they may come off as a little bit pesky. They're doing their job too. Salesy. They make a commission, yeah. But these guys, contrary to like what I do to a guitar store, and I'm not saying they won't, but these guys on Sweetwater not only are certified to handle the equipment you're looking at, but they own the equipment you're looking at. Sweetwater's algorithm builds itself to show you the representatives that own what you're about to buy and gig with it and produce with it. So these people, you can even go to their account on Sweetwater. These people are public. Like, you can find their public info on Sweetwater. You click on these representatives and you scroll into their library and you can find
of stuff they personally own.
You can find the gear that they use. And so if you can believe these people when
can one be a Sweetwater sales rep without gigging on the side or
Probably,
okay.
yeah, and maybe if they're just a hobbyist and they know a lot about the
There you
stuff,
go.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it helps, if I'm gonna name him Troy.
Shouts out to Troy from Sweetwater.
He's been like my guy for a long time. He got me the electric drum kit. He was like, I own this thing. It rules. Let's do it. And with the synthesizer, he didn't own that synth specifically, but he had worked with it and in studios before. And he was like, I think that's a great choice for your starter thing. And he was honest. He was like, it's really complex on like the. I'm gonna throw some terminology. It's really complex on the mod matrix side. There's some things that are like kind of far out in terms of learning on that thing. But he's like, but I think in terms of the sounds it has, how quick you're able to get it running and get working with it. It's great, and it's in that medium price range for synthesizers. Some can be brutal, but like this one is
Yeah, as soon as you said the influx of gas,
it's
I was like,
super dangerous. Yeah,
it sounds really expensive.
Yeah, this one's thankfully well below that 1K mark where most synthesizers just rest. So I started with it. I absolutely loved the thing, and I was like, what it did for me, because I don't write a lot of music by myself. In fact, that maybe happens. That maybe has happened. I have written a song by myself for myself 2 times. Just minus the synthesizer thing, like 2 times since my doing music.
Okay.
I have strictly been a collaborator and a co-writer on
very little
everything
from me coming from you.
Love it. It's absolutely true.
Wait,
it's
so is Sweetwater entirely digital? There's no brick and mortar anywhere?
There is a Sweetwater facility in their headquarters, Indianapolis.
So if you're talking to you're Troy talking to Dane, and Dane says, all right, I want to buy it. Is he going to go then and do some kind of side behind the scenes to get the thing to ship to you?
I don't know exactly the route that it takes from there, but I do know for sure that everything that comes from a Sweetwater facility, whether it's from that headquarters or a warehouse, a sub-warehouse or something, all of the gear is unwrapped, checked, and inspected and played before it is ever sold.
So you think they do have sub-warehouses?
I'm certain of it. I don't think they can fit it all there. And if not, they contract other stores to keep inventory for them. It could be. There are some stores that do it. I don't know where they keep all of it, but or maybe they have this giant underground infrastructure that just keeps it all. Yeah, even the gear we don't know about yet.
Right.
But yeah, I think they definitely have a way of knowing, like we know enough about this piece of equipment, when we'll have it. In fact, I've got another sort of synthesizer on hold right now. It's back ordered right now, and I was like, hey, I reached out to Troy. I'm like, I don't know how in demand this is, but is there any way I can reserve one? And he was like, you're in line. He's like, I'll make sure.
What a trip.
He's like, I'll make sure the first one I see here gets set aside. And so I was like, okay, cool, pretty awesome. But yeah, so I get this synthesizer. I love it. It unlocks my creative flow. The only reason I hadn't written music by myself is because there was no flow. It was always me just hammering to get even 2 chords out with maybe some lyrics, and I just couldn't make something. I just couldn't will something into existence by myself, especially on a melodic instrument. On drums, I can create ideas for days, and that's the weird part. Most of the ideas I have come from rhythm and not from melody. So I first come up with, most of my ideas start as a drum beat, and then I'm like, all right, I'm hearing this in my head, and what am I hearing along with those drums, and that's where it starts a lot of the time. Or it starts with bass. That's being the instrument I'm comfortable with. I can shape things really quick on there. Mm-hmm. But the synthesizer thing starts to work out. I'm more creatively on fire here. I already had multiple just crappy synth ideas recorded into my Google Drive that I can flip through and kind of keep track of and stuff. I was already sending stuff to the Logans, even though we
can't spell Logan without O and G.
Yes, we weren't planning on. We didn't really include any synth work in from me, but I was just like, hey guys, this is my new discovery. Check it out. And Logan Park, vocalist, digs synths quite a bit, and I wanted to show him what I was kind of discovering. and he loaned me some gear too. He's like, hey, I got like a MIDI keyboard, and I have a module for one of the synths that you can use and stuff. So, but I get that, start coming up with ideas. I'm like, all right, I need something else here. It's like pretty shortly after, I'm like, the gas continues, right? And I'm like, I need a drum machine. Even though I'm a drummer and I play the drums, I need something that's able to automate drums for me, do my job.
Keypad situation?
Totally, yeah. It's got some pads on it. It's got a whole lot of faders and knobs. And
it feels like it would take 2 years to learn what all the buttons do on one of those things.
It looks like it, absolutely. And I needed something that was able to remove the labor from the equation. Because one of the issues that has also stunted my creativity is I'm so busy with the jobs and everything that by the time I'm home, there's no time to play instruments. It's go to bed, or it's
capped off your little 2 lines about Straylight, upload to YouTube and Bandcamp when I have the time and motivation.
Absolutely.
I'm calling bullshit on the motivation part. It sounds like you're jazzed about this, but time is the real thief.
The time's the main thing. Yeah, if I had the time, I would be making more of that stuff very often. If it was flowing, if I was getting the ideas, and I am always getting ideas on a synthesizer, which is weird. So I got this drum machine, so I don't have time to write and play on instruments on my own a lot of the time, and that's the bummer. It's because I think if I had more time, maybe I'd be more creative there, but I need something to where I at the comfort of my desk, I can punch.
Hey Siri.
Yeah. Just, hey, create a sick beat for me. I'm going to figure it out.
You feeling this, what I'm putting down over here?
Get the AI to give me the feedback. But so I needed, from the comfort of my desk for me to be able to bleep, bleep, bloop, bloop. Cool, there's a cool beat. Let's try something here. And I would go back and forth until I create something. And that was really working. I was kind of a shot in the dark. I was worried about the drum machine. I'm like, this could be a dud, and maybe I don't like it.
But Troy
has got a great return policy. Yeah. But,
okay.
But he was also very supportive of it. But we got that, and I immediately, the first 2 Straylight tracks, and there's only 4 out right now, since I started, and I've got another one that's almost done. It'll come out soon.
Very exciting.
But the first 4, 3 of which I recorded on the new equipment, the other of which I recorded a long time ago, totally digitally on my phone. It was a FL Studio Mobile. It's I had a
flip phone
production software on my smartphone.
Okay.
And for a school of rock project, we were doing a songwriting class, and to work along with the kids to show them a little bit about the process, I made my own idea with them. I'm like, I'm going to show you how little I need. I'm going to pull out my phone. I'm going to buy a $14 software. Now, you guys don't have to do that, and I'm going to arrange an entire composition on my phone. And I was able to do that, and I thought I lost that. And then I rediscovered the stereo files on my Google cloud, and I pulled them out, and I was like, this is so Straylight. I was already thinking this way before. I just didn't have
the gear.
I just didn't have a physical thing to put it all into place, and it's so hard to do that stuff on a phone. So I'm still glad I got with the physical synths. But so I brought that track back out and I remastered it. I went back through the tracks in a better software, and I raised some levels, thickened them up a bit, made them sound less like a phone. And then released that. So that's amongst them. If it sounds quite different, it's because it was recorded a long time ago. But yeah, so this is a thing, it's this thing on the side that is my musical palette cleanser.
I love it.
It's
and it opened the
floodgates.
Yeah.
It's all open now, and so it's awesome. And there's something euphoric to me about the otherworldly sounds that these machines can create that I just can't do with anything else. And is it all being done for me by a computer? Of course. That's exactly.
The 80s wasn't all bad.
That's exactly what I was invented. It's sure, I'm putting in a little less effort on the playability side here because I can get this thing to sound like anything, but I am putting more effort than ever into thinking musically about what I'm doing,
Cool.
And so that is what's important to me there is I don't care if anybody looks at it or listens to it, but it's like me like airing things out and finally allowing a side of my head to flow that was like
Dude,
completely
and there
backed
could
up.
be 7 more tributaries of other things that 20 years from now you'll go, I bet if I wouldn't have done that, I never would have wound up here.
Totally, absolutely, and that's the thing, you know, like that we could go down the longest rabbit hole ever about the network you create and the sort of butterfly effect that creates that. You know, meeting people like Josh Barber through Dutch Bros, a non-musical environment, was a fluke.
How long did you know his drink before you discovered that he was in this? He had all these other things to share.
Probably almost a year. I think I was just making this guy's drink until eventually there were rumblings in the shop. They're like, "That guy's a music producer," and I was like, cool. Sounds like my type of dude."
Yeah, yeah.
So so I've chatted him up since then about like all the things he does, and we're good friends now. And,
Nice.
Or at least I like to think so. We don't really
Sure.
we don't hang out outside of the shop, but I mean he's not the chattiest guy, and when I'm around, I guess that works. So but I love his music. I love everything he's put out, and he's got more coming. He's supposedly going on tour, and he's a great producer. I've heard like other works he's been on. He produced a band called Norma Jean, another sort of heavier band. Even like some hip hop artists like SZA, stuff like that. He's produced for.
Wow.
So, but yeah, so the Straylight thing, I consider it a hobby, but I would welcome it into whatever thing it becomes. You know, if that becomes a band, or if I just work some of those ideas into a band, that's great. But yeah, I got a new idea coming, and I think that's about it on
Nice.
that one. Yeah.
You mentioned your color-coded calendars. I had as a note, you're wearing a lot of hats right now. How do you find the energy and to stay organized for all of it? Is that
Great
the
question.
simple answer, that you just got a little thing over there?
Yeah.
Or is there more to it?
Yeah, it's like this. Yeah.
What are those
that's
like? Is it
Blue,
Dutch Bros?
Blue
and
is Dutch.
School of Rock?
The off-red orangish is School of Rock. The peach is From Me.
Stop. Seriously?
The gray is Grindstone. All of the extra yellow stuff towards the end are shows, so you can see a lot of.
How'd you come up with that?
I needed it. My agenda used to be in list format on a Google Doc.
Yeah.
I was just going through and backspacing stuff as I was going through it, and I knew Google had a calendar function, and I just never sat down to figure out how to use it, and it's super cool, and you can do reoccurring things. So
Sure.
like with the Dutch Bros things, those aren't necessarily set in stone, but I can be confident that I will likely work that day or at some point, you know. And
I mean, I use it too. This is a shared calendar between my ex and I to keep track of.
that's great. Yeah.
So, but it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like that.
Now
I know you're in month view for that example.
Yep.
but
Yep. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And so yeah, it helps a lot, and
You've-
you can attach alarms to a lot of those
Oh.
things, or attach reminders and stuff.
There you
like
go.
that, so.
Now, do you find, and I don't necessarily just mean to sleep and to wake, but generally speaking, do you find that your energy stays even keel enough to juggle all these things? It's not you don't ever find yourself, you know.
Yeah, I get tired a lot for sure, but I've gotten pretty good at just powering through and remaining present for a lot of the things, and I've gotten really good at power naps. They help.
There you go.
Really
Are you
well.
talking 20 minutes, 40 minutes?
If I can keep it under an hour, that's the goal.
You get hit that hour mark, you need more, right?
Once you get there, you wake up destroyed.
Do you go horizontal or stay vertical for a power nap?
I could do either.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think I'd prefer horizontal, but
Yeah, of
vertical
course.
happens when I'm really
Yeah.
yeah. Today I almost got to an hour though. That was dangerous.
My stepmom mentioned a couple summers ago, just in a casual conversation, you know, and I was aware of power naps and did the occasional vertical in a chair in college and whatnot. But she goes, you know, sometimes even just 20 minutes to take the edge off. And conversation continued and I went about my way, but I just kept. I was like, what is this take the edge off shit? I need to sleep. And then I did it a couple times, and actually horizontal,
Yeah.
set an alarm, and if it was 25 minutes and I only slept for 17, it made a difference. And I woke up, I was like, okay, this still sucks, but you got to keep going. But I felt less glitchy.
Oh yeah.
Like sometimes I'm so glitchy that I'm worried that I'm going to be able to actually fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, very rarely, that actually is the case. But even just being horizontal and still and closing my eyes does something. It's not nothing.
Yeah.
So
It's
there's
this
all kinds
weird,
there's a spectrum.
weird short-term boost
Yeah.
that it does.
Yeah.
Super effective.
So last time you were here, you gave me a list of albums that fell under the category of all-time favorites or go-tos or most influential. This time you gave me a list that you would classify as what?
This was a hard one, but I want to say this is the list. Like the first 5 that I gave you in that first episode were really easy to put together. Like it was like kind of a no-brainer. Like these have totally like shaped me, like as a musician, as a listener, and it was a no-brainer. For this one, I wanted to see if there was, like, if I didn't have those, like take those away, what are like 5 that come to mind where it's like these are shaping me, like even like right now, like I can feel the influence of these ones right now, because those are the old 5 that I showed you are obviously still super important, but maybe I come back to a couple of them a little less just because of where I'm at, and that I'm past a certain phase with some of it. Still love it all so much, but this stuff is like the next wave, I guess, and you could say I'm still early in my journey.
Yeah.
And I'm still discovering, and you know from the first episode that my time on this earth appreciating music is quite minimal. Like actually listening.
All of our time on this earth,
totally.
Period. It's not even a blip.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. I mean,
have you seen Project Hail Mary? Did you enjoy it?
I did.
I did too.
Yeah.
I loved. I saw the trailer. I was like, I'm gonna love the shit out of that movie, and then I loved it for so many more reasons that I never could have even.
I need to see it again.
But
did you read the book at all?
No,
I need to do that.
But I did listen to a podcast episode with Neil deGrasse Tyson,
Nice.
and the author.
Good.
Talking about why all the science works.
That sounds fun.
And he talks about, you're over my shoulder, Neil, being like, I can't throw in something that's false or even
That's
this
great.
shot. Yeah, because the science has got to work.
Well, that makes sense now, because I definitely felt a little bit of that.
Yes. So your time as a music person is so small. And
So like I'm still going through the motions with a lot of stuff and a lot of artists, and I mean I'm sure I'll never stop discovering, but there are some albums on here that the Incubus one especially, we'll get to that. Like they're albums where like I realize I've been hearing my whole life, but I didn't know. I've been hearing songs from these albums. And then I get around to it. I'm like, that's where that came from? I'm like, holy, this is like...
Fascinating that's your example, because I still have a large amount of my cassettes. Uh-huh. And that Incubus record was... I don't know. Somebody was like, you got to check out Incubus. I don't know if they gave me that title, but that's what I ended up buying. And I didn't last long. I was like... Phew. And then it makes a list. And I'm like, okay, all right, well, now I don't have a choice. And I listened to it, and like there are some absolute gems that I would never would have known tracks 1 through 3 that they were going to be down in the sequence.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm like, and it's also this comes up time and again. I'm not the same person as I was 20 years ago in terms of listening to music and being whatever level of open-minded and so on and so forth. Just fascinating that you mentioned that.
I may have already said it on the first episode, but some of the best music ever is like the stuff that has to brew for a little bit. You know? Most of the albums that I include on these lists are ones where I was like, cool.
Yeah.
And then just keep listening, and then I'm like, okay.
Now you're the dude. You got to check out.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So I want to roll through them in release order.
Yeah.
Do we need to take 5, or are we just powering through?
Totally fine. We can just keep going.
Okay. So we started in 1998. Refused. The Shape of Punk to Come. This is third of 5, 12 tracks, 55 minutes. Hardcore Swedish punk. A podcast first. Tell me about Refused and why The Shape of Punk to Come kicks off your list.
Well, this is probably... Let's see, I'm going to think real quick. This may be the latest discovery on, like, this group of 5 in terms of when I came across them. And I don't know when that was. It was probably, I think, in my first couple years of teaching School of Rock, I'm going to say between 2020 and 2023, maybe. We did one of their songs in one of our groups. Yeah, we did a New Noise.
Okay. What track number is that?
Let's see. Oh, boy. If I can tell. Holy hell.
I know my writing's not the easiest to read.
You're fine. Oh, 6.
Okay.
Yep. And that, I believe that was the hit on this record. They were not the biggest breakout, but this album, this is one of those bands where they break up and not much happens for them. You know, they break up due to middling, reception, and then album develops a cult following, and they get this massive fan base. They get back together, which they did in like 2011 or something like that, and they sell out like arenas for the album that they did.
I just listened to one of my things I've been listening to lately is Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, which I find fascinating.
I need to see more of that.
And he had her name's escaping me, but she's one of the primary roles in White Hot American Summer.
Oh, cool.
Which I haven't seen. However, he goes, this is a really good example of you make this thing and then nothing, and then all of a sudden, boom, it explodes way after the fact, and then all of a sudden it's generating popularity and revenue and buzz and all these other things. Wild that can happen.
Yeah, same thing happened with Failure on that first list. Failure broke up after Fantastic Planet because all of the members were so destroyed on heroin that they couldn't function anymore. They broke up the band, late 90s, got sober over some period of time, came back, original lineup, 2013, and are still kicking it now. They just put out a record. That's great.
Wow.
Awesome. So I love it. Like some of my favorite bands do that. Hum did that. Rest in peace to their drummer. But it's crazy. One of the bands I also like almost made this list called Duster. They did the same thing too, where they released like a bunch of albums, got zilch, and disappeared in like '98, and then came back in 2017, and have been not super successful, but are now touring, playing shows, and doing.
But I cut you off though. But they put this record out in middling, and then all of a sudden, it's somewhere it picks up some steam.
Picked up some steam, and I think it was there was something about this record that it came out in a crucial point when sort of the hardcore scene was booming and also developing. There were bands that were a little bit bigger, like Quicksand, and bands like, I don't know if you can consider Thrice in that category. Some people call them post-hardcore, and that's a different, we're going to get back into the post. But they were in this pool of bands that were starting out, and so was a band like Failure. And a lot of these bands, some were doing really well, some were not, and they just kind of got lost in that mixture. It came later that, like, I guess people think that this is like one of the, I say people, the fans of this band believe that this is one of the like defining, like sound shaping hardcore records. Like it created, like the name, The Shape of Punk to Come is a fact. Like, according to the listeners of the album, it set the stage for the bands that came after. And I think that's what the band thought, too, as pretentious as that is. I think that's what they thought of the material. That's
exactly what I wrote. These motherfuckers are full of themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you what, man. I don't know where on the heavy scale I would rate your first list of 5. It's definitely not neutral. It's above the 5. Okay, I'm not going to say if it's a 10 or a 7 or whatever. But I also listen in chronological order, right? And so I put this on.
I was gonna be like, this is gonna be
a
hard one to start with.
It was. I was like, fuck, please don't. The other 4 can't be on par, or like I'll never make it. Like this is so.
Yeah, I made
intense.
sure not to. Yeah, I like some heavy stuff, and I could have filled it with a lot of that. But
What's crazy about that statement is that if we're doing a identify the criminal lineup, and the list, match the list with the suspect on the other side of the glass, I would pick you last 10 out of 10 times.
To get that luck.
Because I called you stoic earlier. You also, so the episode 50, Steph Rupp designed the logo and built the website for me and didn't want to do it. And then all of a sudden, one day she's like, maybe I'll do it. And she sends me a list, and I was like, whoa. Never super cute, just
fascinating,
heavy. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yes.
And she goes, I don't know, but I feel like I can get it. I can get that energy out of my system and function. And I was like, but I've always my whole life been like, if you like that, that's how you go through, life. But that's not the case at all.
No. But yeah, this is in that sort of topic. This is kind of my break shit record. This is my like. If I'm a little pissed off, this is a good one.
I had, thankfully, I sometimes I got to take these listens on the road.
That's great.
Which is tough because if I want to make a note, I got to wait till I'm stopped somewhere and then open my notes app. I'm a pen and paper guy, but obviously, anyway, the drive that I had for this. There was no congestion, no bumper. I had I could see. I like to go when I'm driving, right?
It's a good one to go to.
Well, but I mean, I don't want a 20-minute drive to take 33 minutes because, what are we doing? This is the freeway. Fucking go.
Yeah.
But luckily, I had 0 sources of agitation on this drive. Because if I had, I might have had to bail. I might have had to hit ripcord and turn it off because there's no way I could take both.
That's amazing.
External irritation and this thing that I'm willfully listening to in my car.
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah. I did. I went, these guys fucking think they're, just by the title. And then I was like, I'm not going to say they're wrong.
Yeah, they were a bit pompous back in the day. Nowadays they're the nicest dudes.
Really?
Oh my gosh, they're like, there's interviews with them. They're just like these sweet, quiet European dudes. They don't talk much, but you can tell there's just good in them, And it's always those heavy bands, They're just teddy bears, outside of the thing.
Where I can never move past is the absolute need to do that vocally correct, the correct fashion to not ruin a tour forever, your voice, whatever. And then you have to have recovery.
Yeah.
You can't.
Even if you do it safely, it's still like.
Even back-to-back nights seems insane.
Yeah, I don't know how. And this record doesn't sound safe to me. I think the way he's coming across, maybe he's got a technique, possibly, but he's one of those vocalists where I'm like, dude, I
will say the second to last and the last track were a nice way to wrap it up. There's the second to last track. There's some nice little pieces in there, and then we get back to business, and then the last track. Also, I was like, this is different. Okay.
Yeah, I do like how even though it's a brutal and pretty fatiguing listen, even me, someone who loves the record, I generally don't listen in one sitting because it's just like first 3 tracks I'm like, cool, there's the fix, and boom, we're done, moving on. And maybe I'll do like 3 hard tracks and maybe one of the quieter ones towards the end.
I do like that they give you on almost every track, they'd give you a nice little pillow at the beginning.
There's a lot of
it's not just right into it.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool instrumental little synthy things in here. This is another one of those records where that little like trip hop beat that happens before new noise, and it's just like this little like sort of dance thing that breaks out. Like that's one of those things that I hear in a song, and I'm like, this song would be somewhere else without that. Even if it's small and it's gonna go away and it's gonna get blasted away by this cacophony of noise. This was needed for
Blasted
pacing.
in that sense. This is italicized.
That little just shape, that tone,
Yep.
whatever it may be. Even the smaller moments on here, there are a couple tracks where it's just kind of a beat, like it's just like a instrumental thing, or like it's passing through. You know, much needed. I think if this was like track 1 all the way through, it's already hard, but track 1 all the way through for all of them would be abysmally hard. But yeah, this is one of those records. I discovered these guys through a video game, actually.
Really?
The game Cyberpunk 2077.
Huh.
There's a fake band in the game, a virtual band that is fronted by Keanu Reeves, literally like a motion captured, perfectly real Keanu Reeves in the game. A band called Samurai in the game.
Okay.
And the Samurai, the tracks, like the songs that they play in the game, are all refused music that's been recorded for the game. They recorded a whole album for the game, and that music gets played in the game world as a like a canon part of the experience. It's
cool.
It's pretty neat. It's immersive. It's a real band playing the stuff. I like that.
I started this thing, and for a while I was making TikToks for each episode. I ran out of steam.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that bedtime, right? Got to keep it. Yeah. I also created a spreadsheet. I'm picking intro and outro tune. I think your dad loved the intro and outro from our last. So I'm trying to not. I used to try to not repeat there. I've repeated a few times, but also. So what is my intro? What is my outro? Who's the guest? What's the episode number? What albums?
Sure.
And it just So I say that to say this. If I get a list, and I think somebody had that on their list, and then I Google the podcast and the name of the album, and it doesn't pull up, and I'm like, I swear. So I don't know. The point is, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and. I'm pretty sure the Fragile has made a list, but I couldn't find.
Before I love how candid you're being with me about this. I want your gut feeling. I want your what do you think about it? And it can be like, you don't have to like it. Just curious.
Very young me would scoff and turn my nose up and dismiss anything with power chords and screaming.
Sure.
It's been a very long journey for me to arrive at accepting. I also would scoff, turn my nose up, and dismiss most forms of punk, but I definitely have come to a place where I like punk, but you got to be unique. There's a lot of punk out there. Hey, every track's 219, and we're sticking it to the man, and there's nothing intriguing in there.
Right.
But sometimes I'll come across somebody, I'm like, this I like. This is impressive in terms of all the things that we've already discussed.
Sure.
And a lot to take in one listen. I appreciate what it is, and I do like the nugget that they're the nicest guys. I'm probably not going to revisit this.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
Which is just, it's not my cup of tea. It doesn't mean
absolutely.
I think it's bad.
No, and I'm not trying to call you out on anything. I was just genuinely curious. I love how I so love how you've described this and how you've referred to your listening to it, because it's exactly what I imagined. When I picked this one out, I was like, oh boy. I'm like, I don't even know what you listen to on a regular basis, but I knew what your reaction to this one was going to be, and I love it. I love how honest you're being about it. I think my thoughts on it, I think this gets more interesting on the last half, when they start you messing around with extra textures and adding some dynamics
100%.
and doing some more like progressive things with the music, I think they came out with a bang, and towards the end they're like, all right, we've got like the hits out of the way, or the hard rock stuff. Let's start messing with like some passages and some different stuff. So
that's I think a part of me, and I'm just now realizing this. You kick me in the balls for tracks 1 through 4 or 5, and you're just going to kick me in the balls every song, because that's not going to leave me very impressed. Right. By 12 and 13, I know what that ball kick feels like.
It's important, the dynamics of it all.
Yeah.
But that's all I have to say about that one, really, other than, it. It's something that I come back to, and there's a character to it that's pretty crazy, and it's unlike their other albums, And
really?
Their other albums are similar tonally, but their first 2 albums sound nothing like that.
Weird.
They're still punk records, but they're nowhere near as aggressive, and they're a little more in the range of like, I don't know, like Misfits or something like that. It's very like even more power chordy and regular vocals, kind of. A little more like clean vocals with a little bit of rasp rather than.
I'm glad you said that. Here's the other thing. When punk is born and takes off, and now it's soaring and so on and so forth, everybody was like, it's not just about angry, sticking it to the man. It's lo-fi and garagey and blah. And it's like, it doesn't all have to be that way.
Sure.
I like how clean and polished this
pretty
sounds.
Clinical, yeah.
And,
in a good way.
They're doing some things in there that you need clean and polished to really appreciate the intensity of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I also forgot to talk about the name comes from something. I feel bad that I didn't
look it up.
But the it's named after an album called "The Shape of Jazz to Come."
Oh,
by Ornette Coleman.
Okay.
Their pretentious teenage selves, when they were making that album, were like, so that guy, created the foundation of jazz to come. It's like, we're going to create
our turn.
This, the sound of punk to come. But yeah, it's cool.
The Fragile,
oh,
9 Inch Nails,
Holy
1999, 4th of 16. 23 tracks, 103 minutes, industrial rock out of Cleveland. A lot of 9 Inch Nails making lists in the last year or so, and albums making lists all from the 90s, really. But they've been cranking out records for the last 20 years, including one from 10 days ago.
Yep.
How familiar are you with the catalog, and how's the Fragile earn a spot on this list?
9 Inch Nails have quickly risen to be in my top 3 like bands projects of all time. That was a slow. I said quickly. It's not true. It was a slow climb, because I'm pretty sure the first few times I heard them, I didn't understand it at all. Mm-hmm. And the first song I heard from them, I think it was "Every Day Is Exactly the Same" off of "With Teeth," which is probably like one of their most accessible songs ever. It's a hit. It's got 100 million plays on Spotify or something like that, and it's a radio song, and it's very good.
It's not ringing a bell for me.
But a lot of those songs on that record did make it straight to radio, because that was Trent Reznor's post-sobriety. Like he was
okay.
He was out of this, and he was into something a little more, not sanitized, because it was still dark and heavy and rough, but it was, he was in a new space where things were a little easier to put out there on a label and stuff. But anyways, it took me a while, everybody talks about the Downward Spiral as one of the greatest records of all time, the best 9 Inch Nails record, and that one, like, it's going to be a hot take for a lot of the people hearing that one, still doesn't land for me to this day.
Okay.
And I think what I'm missing from that is exactly everything that happens on this record. This came out right before the Downward Spiral, or did it? No, it did not. No,
I think that's the only
that's after, because there was Pretty Hate Machine, Downward Spiral, and so this is a product of everything after that, which is crazy, because the Downward Spiral to me sounds like a departure in a way of like it's further than this. Like he went more experimental almost. And I keep saying I'm gonna say he a lot because I often view Nine Inch Nails as mostly Trent Reznor and the stuff he does, but I know there are plenty of band members that have contributed to the studio tracks. So I don't mean to discredit anyone, but this record, my cousin Scott, who I keep mentioning, commented on the episode. We talk music a lot. He's like one of my best like friends in the family, where we always have some kind of music to chat about, and he has always been a huge fan of Nine Inch Nails. And I think one day I remember texting him. I was like, "Hey, like I have like this weird like of an urge to listen to and get into something new, and I've been like stumbling to like understand like what's the thing about Nine Inch Nails. Like I keep hearing about it. You're such a fan, do you have an entry point for me? Because I think I was intimidated by the discography. It's pretty huge. There's a lot of remix albums and live albums in there too that kind of make it all look even messier and stuff. And he was like, my like go-to, or like the record that has everything is like this one.
Shouts out to cousin Scott.
And so I was like, all right, I'll give it a go. He said, listen to We're in This Together Now first. Track 5, I believe.
I want you to go out of order?
Yeah. He was,
take my shouts out back.
I'm not sure if he recommended that right away, but he was like, that's your easy listening on the record. That's the one that'll, like, if you want something easy, that's not just industrial, like noises clanking in your ear and stuff.
Industrial is what, this stuff comes out and it's taking hold and getting popularity. And I'm like, what is it? And it sounds exactly like it's being described, industrial, which to me means there's nobody with instruments and blah, 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 and get it out of here.
Right.
Little did I know, there's a lot of texture.
Yeah.
There's a lot of admirable texture, and a lot of my familiarity is very limited and in that mid to late 90s pocket, and it's like, dude, this makes me want to look down the rabbit hole.
It's incredible. Yeah. And this is, this did not help with the synth gas, this whole like anything Nine Inch Nails, there's always such a perfect implementation of synthesizers, and that seems to be Trent's forte. As keys. I believe he was a classically trained piano player before Nine Inch Nails, or at least a well-trained piano player. So most of his stuff starts on the keys, it seems, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of piano textures that come out every now and then. At the end of We're in This Together Now, that piano outro makes the song for me. It's like, I love how catchy it is. It's a long song. It's almost 6 minutes or something like that. Maybe it is. But it's catchy, like awesome, and the choruses are huge and stuff, but there's something about that send-off and him having, I don't know what you call it, it's like, I'm gonna bring it down, I'm gonna strip this back to its chords, and I'm just gonna play it out on the piano, and the guitar is gonna wail just a little bit in the background, that same line that hovered over the chorus, but this time way quieter.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whew.
What
incredible
did you, in looking, just reading just a little bit about this, the variations where there's like, this is disc 4 side D. I'm like, what? Then it's 230, like, what in the world?
Yeah. That's kind of thing seems to exist for a lot of the Nine Inch Nails records, where there are pressings and whatever it may be. There's like the pressings throughout time from the release of the album up until now. People have seen differences in like records, like vinyl, whether there's a difference in the sleeve, there's a difference in the track list. I have a vinyl copy, an anniversary edition of this record. It's in no way like a super expensive old version or anything, but there's like 3 extra tracks on there that you can't find on streaming anywhere.
Yeah.
You can find them on YouTube. Sure, there's like rips of them.
Yeah.
But, and that exists for a lot of them, where like there's variations. Like this record got a re-release, I think, called Variations or something like that, where it's like 4 extra discs of instrumental mixes.
Is that what it is?
And B-sides. That might be what you're referring to, but that's like, it's like a $70 like 4 book or like 4 disc record that has like the outtakes from this on it.
Okay.
But at the same time, like people are still finding like old pressings of this and other Nine Inch Nails records with extra pieces of sound and tracks in them.
Wild.
And you got to wonder like what's out there and how much that stuff can be worth.
Yeah.
I found one of the pressings from.
Which is crazy because this is, I mean, a double album.
It's massive.
right?
Yeah, you're already like, there's more that came out of this session. He didn't just put all of it in there.
That's what
there seems to be.
What'd you say? Strip away the labor?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's limitless.
It just makes itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's just incredible, though. It's one of the ones I tell you that I have trouble sitting through the Refused record. This one, sometimes I have trouble prying myself away from it.
You can get through both sides, if you will, and want to start over.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Or just go back through and pick through the ones that stuck with me. This one, like, for Refused, if I go back to that one, I'll listen to, like, a couple tracks at a time and then leave it for a while again.
Yeah.
This one, oftentimes, when it does end up in my rotation, whether it's in the car or, like, on the record itself, it's usually a straight listen through one side or both if I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
Because it's just the pacing, the diversity of it. I can't praise enough how much this packs into one package without feeling monotonous,
No.
And I think there's only 2 or 3 tracks on here that maybe I could skip. And I don't really like Starfuckers, like not into that one, but yeah, there's just a few of the ones that come off as a little more like a filler track, and I hate using that word. One of my least favorite things is someone referring to any song as filler, because it's, as an artist myself, I don't like that word, but I get it. I do get it. And it's one of those things where, like, sometimes the filler is the label. That's the problem. It's like oftentimes
Could be.
It's like you need to fill this.
I've, over the years, considered and shared Physical Graffiti to be, like, one of the greatest double albums of all time. And, one of my...
Yeah.
I love all but the last 2 Zeppelin records in my DNA. And Physical Graffiti is always going to be, if not at the top, right near it. And I have known that record by heart for decades, and I listen to it now. If it makes like it's made a list or two, a couple songs on there that are dog shit, and it's like
Totally.
it's to every fabric of my soul embarrassing to say that, because I once heralded it as a no skip, and now I'm like, somebody was like, we're making a double record, so we stuck songs X and Y in there to fill that, and it kind of brings the whole thing down a little bit, if I'm being honest. But
Yeah.
I understand what you mean by not wanting to use that word as an artist, and maybe it is the label, but it does.
I think it's fair in some areas.
Yes,
Yeah, it's not like it's a I'm not gonna be like, don't dare say it,
right.
But it's one of those things where
it's a whole other F word.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I try to refrain from using it until maybe someday, in hopes that maybe someday I find an understanding of whatever that filler is, But maybe I never will.
Well, because of my failures as a spreadsheeter, if you've had the Fragile on your list before, and I'm not remembering your name, my apologies. The next one is similar. Another single year leap to 2000 with Shiner's Starless.
Was this on a...
See, here's the problem: is that I could have, I've
seen a Shiner record somewhere in there.
I thought so too, and the best I could come up with was maybe somebody had the egg, but I don't know.
I think you're...
What I do know is that I have gotten. It's been some time ago now. Yeah, man, let's do it, from Paul Malinowski to come on here, and then he dropped off, and I haven't reached back out. But if you go all the way back to episode Gherkin was on here. He definitely brought up Starless, because it's the first record he's on.
Yep.
But so this is 3 of 6 for them, 11 tracks, 43 minutes, post-hardcore alternative rock out of KC Mo. So maybe it's a podcast first for the artist in the album, but I'm not certain. Gherkin was episode 10. Why is Starless special for Dane Bridges?
Shiner is. It's weird because I couldn't tell you when and where I figured out about them.
No.
But I would say it's close to around the time I discovered Failure.
Okay.
Those two bands are very often talked about in the same conversation.
Really?
Yeah, and I think it's because of they existed on a similar timeline. They share sounds across certain records. There's just similarities in that kind of, oftentimes Failure gets referred to as space rock in a way that's very like, there's a lot of stuff on that Fantastic Planet record that's very abstract, very spacey in sound and atmosphere, and Shiner does that with a lot of their stuff, especially, I mean, Starless, has something to do with it, but the link now is harder than ever. Now that Paul Malinowski has done front of house sound and production for Failure on their tour.
Oh, wow. I don't know if I knew that or
that
not.
Connection,
That's cool.
That connection's already there, and I believe those guys have been in talks for a while. I bet they've toured together, but I can't fact check that. But two bands that I just hear mentioned together very often. But Shiner probably came about as a result of me discovering Failure, and they're a huge reason to why I create in general. They're probably my favorite local band.
Cool.
Jason Gherkin is one of the major reasons why I drum and keep drumming. He's a machine.
Shouts out to Sugar.
And he's like, he does it with such little effort. Like, I mean, not to say he hasn't like worked hard for where he is. I'm certain it took so much, but he talked about it on your episode. I went back to the Gherkin episode. I had to listen through it.
How did you know he was on?
Love that. When I was looking through your just scrolling through after I had been on,
Okay. You mentioned somebody who was hitting stuff at 4 and had everything fine tuned by 5 in his episode, talking about putting a record together, and they're like, "We just need you to shut up and hit stuff."
That's what I was gonna say. Yep, he makes it all sound so like he talked about in your episode about showing up for the Schadenfreude record, not knowing that was tracking day. He mentioned in the episode where he got there and he was like, we're just figuring it out, right? And they're like, no, you're on. Like, and they hit the button.
Is that where he talked about somebody putting in fills after the fact, and he was like, "Hey, man, don't do that shit."
I still haven't found the song where that happens. I'm looking for it, but he mentioned how he doesn't do the same fill twice, and that's totally true.
Yeah.
After seeing them live a few times, like he doesn't recreate like that kind of stuff. It's like just comes out and it's awesome. But like, yeah, there was like a production magic that they did to fix a piece. And I think Paul put like 2 fills back to back and duplicated them or something, which is unlike Jason. But yeah, like he, just that idea of like, I went in, I didn't know it was, and I played through the record, and I go back and I listen to that record and I'm like, it tracks. I mean, it's the drums are genius, but they sound highly unplanned, and some certain beats are just non-pattern based. Like there are certain like kick patterns, certain fills, certain things I'm hearing, especially towards the end of songs where there's like a breakdown or a crazy like crescendo, whatever it may be. I'm not hearing repetition. I'm hearing him feeling his way through the song, and drums oftentimes result in like
not the same as do not deviate from the click track.
Exactly. And I have a story about a song on this album regarding click tracks. But I'll go into that. Let's see, Too Much of Not Enough. Second to last track.
Yeah.
I can't verify this directly with Gherkin per se, but I have a coworker named Greg Todd, who is a force in the scene. He's in a lot of bands, and I think he's done some production, but he's good friends with a lot of the Shiner guys, and good friends with a whole lot of bands that I'm also in touch with. And apparently on that track, I think it's that one, Jason lost his headphones towards the outro. There's this thing that happens towards the end where like the build-up's happening, the guitars are ascending, and there's like this massive like just bombardment of drum fills that end the song, and it's like it starts to become more incoherent as you keep listening, and you start to realize he's not with it.
He's not dialed in.
He is. I mean, he is killing it. Whatever he's doing, it's working for the song because that's where the energy's at. But I feel if you were to put a click to that song, it probably wouldn't work. And that's because his headphones flew off and he kept playing the song. And then he finished it and they took that take.
Wow.
And it's just a testament. If that's true, like I said, I don't have... That's what I'm hearing from his friends. It could just be legends, you know. But I think it's true because that sounds like Gherkin.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a testament to his abilities. He's absurdly good and a huge inspiration. Don't think he'll see this, but I hope he knows.
He might.
Hope he
Who
knows
knows?
that. But yeah, you know, and so is Paul. You know, I've known Paul since he worked on the Major Matt tracks, and he's huge inspiration. But yeah, this record is like, it's one of those things where, similar to that Idle Airs record that I was talking about, I was like, to know that something like this can be created in my hometown keeps me going.
Yeah.
So,
the aforementioned Morning View by Incubus, 2001. Woo! 4 of 9, including a TBD for perhaps later this year. 13 tracks, 58 minutes for this one. Alt rock, funk metal out of Calabasas. This has made 2 or 3 lists on the show. Seems to be a fan favorite. Why do you suppose that to be?
I think this is their most consistent outing.
Okay.
And I think I mentioned easy listening before. You know, there are certain tracks that you can just put on and get into. This is like a whole collection of those. Like, there's very few of these to me are duds or things that are like hard to get into.
Yeah.
I think each track has that listenability to it where like, I'm into it, I'm getting, you know, I can groove to this. And yeah, this is, like I mentioned earlier, this is one where I'm pretty sure I heard my dad blasting a lot of this throughout time, and I didn't connect that it was all coming from this album until this was probably, I say Refused was probably the most recent discovery. This is close to that timeline wise, where I knew of Incubus and I knew of all their hits, and I liked what I heard, but I had never listened to a full record from them. So I listened through this one, and I don't know what brought me to it. I think I was hearing some relatives talking opinions or something like that. They were like, Incubus fell off after Morning View or something like that. That was the opinion. And I was like, well, what was so significant about, you know, and I wanted to go back and listen to it. But I don't personally have that opinion because I haven't listened to enough of post Morning View Incubus, and so no comment. But
I mean, I think there's a healthy portion of folks out there that still think they're killing it.
Yeah. I mean,
and not that they're misguided or incorrect. I think that they would probably disagree with that.
Yeah.
Claim.
I don't believe it because I don't have enough to back it, but I hear that a lot from people.
Oh, a lot, huh?
From in like my circle, like at work and stuff like that. There's, you know, people are just like, they kind of started to meander. Not that their stuff became bad in any way, but just
are they suggesting soft?
No, suggesting that they never did anything as direct and consistent as that again. They kind of like started trying things. Some things that worked, some things didn't, you know. But like I said, I don't have that view at all. That's just what I've heard. I'd love to dig into some more of their stuff. But one of those bands I strangely know less about. I just know that this record was recorded possibly in the spot where the picture was taken, because they rented out a mansion in California and stayed there for like 4 weeks and just recorded.
That sounds familiar.
Thing. They recorded this whole thing in that mansion. That's why it has that consistent sound. It's all the same location. The drums sound like, to me, it's probably unlikely, but the drums sound like, to me, it's like one take. Like all of the drums on this album were done at the same time, like maybe not same day, but like they didn't move the drums anywhere, I don't think. It's so bang on in terms of how well it's all produced, but you know, there's a lot of studio magic that you can apply to that to make it sound so consistent. I'm sure there's some facts.
Science from 1997 was the cassette that I purchased.
Cool, that's a good one.
it, 20 plus years ago me did not view that record the same way that today me views. I mean, they're night and day. Now,
Gotcha.
I'm talking very few listens. So I say all that to say this: their catalog is only 9 records deep. Maybe that's an artist. If you wanted to come back for another episode, we tackle the discography
Yeah, that'd be cool.
and
I like
swap
that idea
notes.
too.
Just throwing it out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sammy Sanchez has probably been on the most.
Mm-hmm.
We did a initial episode of 5 records, and then I think every time he's been back, we've done a discography.
Cool. That's a great idea.
Which has been fun. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's a commitment to like
Sure.
listen ahead of time, have some notes, have some things to say, and anyway, I would have to go back to Science and give it a listen
Sure.
before I could say. But that's all I have now is
Yeah,
today
absolutely.
me versus 1990 whatever me, and going. I don't know that this
Totally.
Incubus is all that, but it's fantastic, and it's definitely one of those rabbit holes that is orbiting closer and closer to me.
Yeah. It's
Going
got
down.
that. It's such a perfect balance of heavy and smooth at
Yeah.
the same time.
Yeah.
There it's moments where it's drifting almost like walking into new metal territory, kind of where bands like Deftones and even Limp Bizkit were kind of headed with those textures of like down-tuned guitars, quick rhythmic vocals and stuff like that, where it almost comes off like a rap sometimes.
Yep.
But it's still melodic. It leans into that territory, but always rebounds back to this. The only word I have is smooth. It's just you're on the beach when you're listening to this.
I've not listened to very much Limp Bizkit at all. White Pony has made a couple of lists.
Deftones, yeah.
Which
Yeah.
to me
Almost.
is a little abrasive.
Yeah.
This is not that.
No, not at all.
In terms of the smooth that you mentioned.
Right, absolutely. And Limp Bizkit's probably an awful comparison. I'm having trouble remembering other new metal bands, but this was in that realm, timeline wise too, when a lot of those sounds were getting thrown around, and so I feel the influence there, but they were still well within their elements, not pushing outside of this nice bubble of consistency that was here, where it's like this track is you're at the beach, melodic guitars, it sounds just super nice on the ears. It's gonna punch you in the next track with some heaviness, but it's always gonna come back down to that point.
Yeah.
It's so the areas in which I feel the Refused record may have leaned too hard into, this would be the antithesis of that. This is we're gonna make sure not to pelt you to death. With the sound.
Interesting that you mentioned the Refused record, because 2009's Sound Awake, Karnivool, second of 4 11 tracks, 72 minutes, alt metal, prog metal from Perth, Australia. Never heard of these guys before, but for whatever reason, I get to this, in the 5 spot out of 5, and I braced myself because I thought we were gonna go back to the neighborhood of Refused.
The neighborhood.
And I was like, all right, here we go. And then I was like, wait, what? And I was like, this I dig.
Nice. Cool.
Never heard of these guys before. How do they hit your radar? And I have another question for you after you answer
totally.
that one.
This was Cousin Scott's on a roll, man.
Shouts are back on the table.
This was also mostly his influence, I'm
Okay.
sure. I don't think I heard about them before him. We are both huge into. This is super specific. It's not like we're stuck on this per se, but we're both hugely into like progressive rock bands from overseas.
Really?
You know, like
How random.
I know, right? Like Karnivool, like Australian dudes here. There's a Aussie band called Dead Letter Circus. It's very similar to this.
Okay.
It's like, in the realm of hard rock, but it's melodic, and there's some metal elements. There's some proggy stuff, whatever it may be. And there's a band called The Contortionist. I forget where they're from, but they're not. I don't. Well, maybe they are U.S., but I don't know. These bands that are extremely complex, not super well known, but have enough of kind of a cult following to be above it in certain ways and be able to like tour and do their thing. But yeah, there's a rabbit hole there that Karnivool will definitely start if you are ever scrolling around their hub, whether it's on Spotify or YouTube, wherever it may be, and you see like artists similar to or fans also like whatever it may be. You're gonna find a lot of bands that share sonic qualities, but are all kind of their own way. But it's all like mostly non-US based complex rock bands that do shit like this and like odd times, very like Tool-y, odd metered stuff.
There's a lot of artists that are, like, for example, Tool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a Tool adjacent vibe here.
Yeah.
I could even make the argument that there's an Incubus adjacent vibe.
Yeah,
There was
totally.
a lot of, like, I don't know what that is, but like keep it rolling.
Absolutely.
Like, this
Yeah.
is cool. This is interesting.
There's even a section the band doesn't. Well, maybe the band doesn't mind this, but there's a section of the fan base that refers to them as Aussie Tool.
Oh,
Like,
funny.
And sometimes they just go by Vool. That's like what
Oh,
the fans call them.
okay.
So it's kind of like a play on, fits. But yeah.
We're swapping messages, and you said something about a playlist. And when I see that word, I get a little bit anxious because I know there are lots of folks out there that have no problem just here, 200 song playlist. I'm not that guy.
Sure.
I need the sequence to flow.
Yeah.
I need there to be some tie. And all respect to the folks that just, I've got
Throw it all in there.
179 playlists in my April 2026 folder, and it's like, what? But I don't. And so where are you? Are you somebody that, how much do you give curation of a playlist?
That's an awesome question and kind of something I planned on answering, but I didn't know how. I would say like I'm in the middle, but like I have that like super long playlist thing going on, but it's not like for listening purposes. It's to keep track of things. And so most of my playlists, my if you take a look at, I don't like that I'm on Spotify. I would prefer to move away from it soon. But what my Spotify looks like right now, it's very logistical. Most of my playlists,
Like your color coded calendar?
yeah, most of my playlists have to do with releases and release dates. So I have a playlist for favorite records of each month for the past like 10 years or something like that. And so, and
You're
I've got,
trying to keep your finger on the pulse of shit that's coming out?
yeah,
Wow.
and I'm super in tune with like music coming out. I mean, I don't want to say I'm better than a particular person, like a music journalist per se, but I love new music. Like I love new releases. I am a firm believer that music is not dead. Rock is not dead. Nothing is going away. There are
Rock
plenty
is
of
dead, long live rock, right? Isn't the Who scream it? Behind the wall, in front
Exactly.
of the wall sound?
There are plenty of bands out there that are alive and making some of the best music out there, and we have to keep track of that. And so a lot of it is like what I do, and you may see this on my socials, is at the end of every quarter, every 3 months, I put out on my stories, and I do a sort of a collage. I do all the records that I liked throughout a quarter of the year, quarter 1 through 4, and I rank them loosely, but I don't start ranking stuff until New Year's. Once I get to New Year's, I narrow that into a top 10 if I can, and top 10 records of X year. It's just a fun thing to do. I love making lists. I'm like, I have this thing about like I have to keep track of everything, make a list of it, organize it, keep it where I know where it's at, and music works that way a lot for me. and I enjoy it that way. And so, in this case, Karnivool was on my playlist of most influential records, which is it's probably like 15
Which
on
is
there.
not a new release playlist. That's its own
Nope.
thing.
Yeah, and
Okay.
so I probably started that playlist because of you, because the top 5 are the first
okay,
episode.
okay.
Yep. So I probably had to start keeping track of that because I'm like, shit, I have to talk
knew
about
I'd
this
take
now.
credit for something.
Yeah, I have to talk about this now. I have to
Yeah.
figure out like where are these and what do I remember? What stuck with me? And that Refused one was like one of the latest additions. But yeah, this was on there, and the song that happened to be like narrowed down by was Change, and that's why I
Okay.
gave you the wrong name. But yeah, and so but other than that, like most of my playlists are like, here were my listens for a month, but it's pretty brief. It's like it's a like favorite from each album. It generally doesn't tread into the hundreds, whatever, thousands of songs territory, unless I do have like I have this playlist that I have just for fun to see the number go up.
Right.
I rarely hit shuffle on it, but it's pretty much like every a song from every album that I've liked since the dawn of my music listening.
Yeah. Wow.
And so
That's
I think
cool.
it's at like 2,300 songs.
Wow.
Or something like that right about now.
Does
But
it have a
it's,
super cool name?
it's like top listens or something like that. You wouldn't be able to find it anywhere. I should give it something.
From me.
Yeah.
I saw today, I don't know who posted it or how old it is, but it was such and such publication. It's on Instagram. Such and such publication came out with the 100 greatest films of the last,
Wow.
whatever.
That sounds like Rolling Stone.
It might be. And the screenshot, it's 2 columns. 1 and 51 are cut off. So you got 2 through 50 and 52 through 100, and you go to the comments, and everybody's like, you had one job.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great list. I appreciate you sharing
Yeah,
it
of
with
course.
me. And I've got 5 goofy questions for you, and then we'll get you out of here.
Go for it.
If we can pretend or imagine we all have a personal and professional bucket list, you're given all the necessary resources to go knock out your number 1 on each of those lists. What are those number 1s?
Personal/professional bucket list? Is that like...
A personal and a professional.
Gotcha, okay.
Sometimes they're one and the same.
Okay. And is there a limit to how many?
No, you're just your top.
Okay.
Your top.
Just
your
top
number
one for
one.
each of them?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Damn. Professional, it kind of probably blends a little bit, but the generic one would be to go on tour.
Okay.
And maybe that's true. I just know a lot of people that don't recommend it as much as it's all cracked out to be.
I've talked to a lot of people that haven't done it, that want to do it, and they know that it's not necessarily lucrative.
Totally.
Even if it's break even, they want to do it once just to
see,
feel. Yeah.
I don't really care what it leads to, but it feels like it's something that it has to happen, at some point. But either that, like professional wise, and we came close with this one, but get something that I've worked on pressed on vinyl.
Cool.
And from me had an arrangement, a very loose what if kind of arrangement with Black Cat vinyl.
Oh yeah.
And it was it was only a if the funds are available kind
Yeah.
of thing. We had the logistics kind of figured out in a way, but we're also like, no pressure. We know you have to profit, you have to make money. Don't sell out on us. Like don't try and make a leap just to get your friend's record out there. Like, this is your business. I was all for him doing whatever felt right, and we just didn't have time. So,
Yeah.
But I think
Well,
it'll happen.
Black Site. Do you know those guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Maybe they were.
Yeah.
Till Willis, when he put out Glass Cactus, found. I think I'm correct in saying this. Found a Canadian company that would do 100 pressings like that. You know, a lot of times it's 5,000, whatever the number is, and folks don't have funds for that. But there are
Right.
spots out there that would do small runs.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Enigmatic Brunch Records, Brad Smith of Eggs on Mars just put out. They've done 3 releases now. I know I think they're doing tapes and CDs. Maybe they have an in to some vinyl action. I don't know.
Cool.
There's folks
There's
around.
a lot of avenues, yeah. Cool. As for a personal
Yeah.
one, I don't know. A lot of people talk about traveling, and I'm not much of a traveler, but yeah, I don't know. I'll leave it at the professional
That's
one. Yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine. So this is the generic history, United States or whatever, history / social studies textbook. And they're only putting out new editions every 40 years, right? So it's got to encompass, you know, I don't know, Christopher Columbus or whatever we are labeling the arrival of white Europeans to, you know, April 28th, 2026. So we've got all of that origin stuff snapshotted down into, you know, a couple of paragraphs, and every 40 years we're adding a new. That's when we're publishing the newest version of the textbook.
Okay.
You've been assigned the most recent chunk, so 85 to 2025, and you get 3 events to sort of encapsulate that window. What are your 3 events?
Jesus. Like just world events in general?
You could keep it as wide as world. You could narrow it down to just United States. But yeah, I mean, world is the thought. Yeah.
And are these?
In your version of this page or this chapter of the history books, these are the 3 things that can't go unmentioned.
Interesting. And they don't necessarily have to be positive things.
Correct.
Okay. Shit. Well, like 85 to present.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's such a bummer that I don't have many good things to say. And it's
Also,
I don't know.
probably
Like,
accurate.
man, stock market crash, one out of many. You know,
Yeah.
9/11
Okay.
and the 2 Trump terms and everything they've brought. But, you know, it's like, it's so vague, you know?
But here's the thing, man. Like, I've only asked this question a handful of times. My own answers don't differ that much from yours. And most folks, you know, you get a Sammy Sanchez who lost Jeopardy in the final Jeopardy answer.
Really?
Yeah, he's sharp,
Oh
which
my
is, I'm not saying you're not.
No.
He was like, I don't even remember dubbing corporations as whatever it was that started giving corporations big giant tax breaks.
Totally. Yeah.
Whatever that term, and I was like, that's a fucking good one. I never would have.
Yeah.
He had, but most folks are like, you know, 9/11, these 2 terms, the internet, the Cold War,
Yeah.
the stock market crash, the housing crash. I mean, it's
Yeah. Internet is huge. I didn't even. Yeah, it's like you.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if I were to switch out any of those, I would say the creation of AI. I mean, I don't know where that goes, but it's huge, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's it's a something that won't go back. There's no rewinding
Nope.
that. And so, whether that's for this history or maybe a little bit far beyond the present, it's happened within this.
Yeah.
It's happened within that window, and it's just gonna grow. So,
what is your Mount Rushmore of movies?
oh my gosh. Ugh. Interstellar.
Excellent choice.
Damn it. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Junior. Okay.
I've got to choose a Keanu Reeves movie, but it's hard for me to, I may just because of its cultural significance and everything that came after it, probably The Matrix.
It's no Point Break, but I'll give it to you. Utah. Give me two.
Yeah. Man, is there Star Wars Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
And I know that's two Lucas-based movies, but I mean,
stop. Those are why Empire?
It was cinema's way of telling us that people lose,
You're right.
and it's very rare that.
And
happens.
I saw. I mean, I've seen all the Star Wars movies. No kidding, in the theater.
Yeah.
And I went to see that, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
It's like, yeah, it ends. It's just
The little when Yoda draws up the fake Vader on Dagobah.
Yeah.
I'm like, should we leave? This is terrifying.
Like the good guys don't have to win.
Yeah.
And there are movies that often don't have the balls to show you that.
Yeah.
Or books or games, a lot of things. But yeah.
Okay. Burt Bacharach wrote a tune called "What the World Needs Now" from the early 1960s. It's been covered by lots of folks. Badass Records Productions is funding a Dane Bridges cover to be produced, but you have to replace "Love, Sweet Love" with 3 new words. What are your 3 words?
Love, sweet love. These are awesome.
Said nobody.
Because I don't think this much very often.
You know the tune, right?
Yeah.
What the world
I don't have things that are like, as like smooth as that, like Love, Sweet Love, that like it's so, love is a thing and it's sweet, like it's slightly descriptive in a way, I don't know. The only, like the thing that replays in my head all the time, this probably doesn't fit, but for any moment of hardship is "This shall pass."
I love that.
It's just something that, this too shall pass, but this shall pass in 3 words.
Yeah.
I can do that.
It's way better than what Gandalf said. Have you seen the Lord of the Rings movies?
Yeah.
You shall not pass.
Yep.
Okay, great answers. I'm going to give you an artist's name, and I want you to help me remember all of the current important plugs, whatever they may be. Okay?
Okay.
Major Matt. What's happening with Major Matt?
Show June 13th.
Okay.
Possibility of something happening before then, but that's what we see right now. We want to book a lot more for the summer.
Okay.
But we'll see. Yep.
Grindstone.
Grindstone next show is this Saturday at the Oak Tavern in Oak Grove.
Hey, I know those guys. They're a customer of mine, actually.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But this will be, we'll miss that because this will be out after.
Sure, yeah.
But that's
So if depending
to the
on
calendar,
depending on when you listen,
to the color coded Bat Cave.
we also have Tool Shed, May 8th. Captain's Sports Lounge, Lake
Yeah.
Lotawana, May 16th. Let's see, and I'll do one more in the next month here. Oh, some of these are private parties. I'm not sure if I'm able to.
Yeah, let's skip those.
Freedom Fest in Greenwood on June 27th.
Nice.
Fireworks.
Holiday at Sea. And, if there's not just gigs, but if there's releases or a particular web page or whatever folks need to know.
No current shows on the horizon just because it's a big band with a lot of busy people, but we get together every now and then. The EP, Foxtrot Delta Tango.
From August, right?
Yep, is out, and we're happy about it. And it's a cool... it's one of the first and I think really authentic amalgamations of us as a group rather than just being a solo project, which is pretty cool because
Right
for
on.
a long time it's been just Brian.
I already know this one, but just for the sake of
Totally.
consistency, from me.
From me, EP Wakare out on all platforms this Friday, May 1st. Out on Bandcamp right now if you want to go check that out. Farewell Show, May 22nd. We'll see you on the other side. There may be a future there. I have no idea. But the EP's out. We're super happy about it. And along with all the other songs we've put out.
Farewell gig, May 22nd at
the Rhino.
the Rhino.
North KC.
Right,
Yep,
right.
sorry.
They're good. Straylight.
Straylight. New track will be done within a week. You'll have it by the episode's out for sure. And you can find that on Straylight KC on Bandcamp. There was kind of a naming issue there because there are a couple other Straylights that interwove with my algorithm. So Bandcamp or YouTube, I'll always upload it there as well. No worldwide streaming there. I don't care right now to put it through a distributor, but maybe someday.
Cool. Any other things that you had hoped that we would cover that we did not?
Not that comes to mind. I mean,
That's
so
for the sake of your
there-
consistent bedtime. That's probably a good
Yeah.
thing.
If there was more time on the table, I would always sit down and pick apart these records. One thing I'll say about Karnivool here is they're just they're a huge deal to me because they combine so you mentioned how there's a lot of feelings going on there, a lot of comparisons you can make, and they are one of those easy listening but also not so easy just because it's complex music where they manage to combine so many of the styles that make up my music taste into one nice package, and
Cool.
I think that's awesome. And they kind of waited 13 years to put out another record, and one just came out this year, and it is kick-ass.
Nice.
So,
I meant to mention when we were talking Shiner Starless and the Jason
Yeah.
Gherkin episode, I cringed a little bit when you said you went back and checked it out because this thing is, evolved a lot.
Sure,
It's got to be this in the beginning, and now it's like, what was wrong with you? And there's just little wrinkles where I'm like, I like that. Let's make it a part of the thing, whatever. Way back when, I was asking people for like one record, and Gherkin picked Elton John's "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road," which blew my mind in just the drum and bass portion. And I've shared that with other people since then. They're like, yeah, greatest rhythm section of all time. And so what I would say to anybody that is rolling their eyes at the notion of listening to that record, go to track one, skip all the hits. If you've heard them too many times, just skip them all and listen to all the tunes you've never listened to before. And you can't not hear the greatest rhythm section of all time because those drums and that bass fucking slap. It is so fun. And, a lot of his, it turns out,
Yeah.
those were important fellas to him, and they're on a lot of his records. So it's not just that one.
Yeah.
But Gherkin's episode was so much fun.
Oh yeah. Good episode.
Dane Bridges, great to see you. I appreciate you reaching out and sharing your list with me, sharing a huge chunk of your Tuesday with me. I'm thankful that you were not otherwise obligated for a practice, and good luck continuing to successfully balance all that you have chosen to put on your plate. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.